What is up, risk takers? Welcome to the Kill Pete strategy. I am Pete. I am a progressive specialist playing Risk Global Domination on PC, currently ranked lucky number 13 on the world leaderboard. Today is the next episode of the Waiting on Your Best Behavior podcast, and we are flipping it today. I am the guest, and I will be giving the interview, and Phil, Risky Phil, will be conducting the interview, and he will act as the host of the show. So how you doing, Phil?
Doing great, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank
Happy
you
to
for
be
coming
back.
back. Yes, I'm so
Yeah, that's
happy.
awesome.
So happy to play
Yeah.
with you and chat with you again.
Yeah, the first time I came on, you had a lot less subscribers and you've just blown up. So it's been really interesting to watch you grow. Yeah, but I'm very excited to be back on.
It's a blessing, man. I can't believe that this many people would be interested in anything I have to say. So I'm always very thankful to the audience for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question about that, but I didn't know if you wanted to get the game started first
Yeah,
or if
let's play.
yeah,
Let's play some Risk, buddy.
absolutely.
What are you feeling?
Probably either no fog with probably progressive is fine with me. Yeah, I think it's better for me to do progressive while I'm talking to you. So like 70% of the game, I can think about talking to you, and then 30% of the game, we are trying to murder each other to take each other's cards.
That's more
So
than I would say. That's a bigger percentage, 30%, than I would say a progressive game costs me. So you're trying a bit too hard.
yeah, maybe I am.
All right, I'm setting up a game here.
Is it Troy?
No, it's going to be Europe.
Okay, that's somebody else then.
And let's do that. And let's invite you. Good old Huxley Cheese 34.
One of the
And
best names, right?
I love Huxley Cheese. I think that's such a funny name.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it last time, but when I saw it, I was like, I have to have that. There's Europe. I like Europe. Okay, perfect. The first question I have for you is actually about your show and guests coming on your show.
Sure.
So you have a bigger platform now than most people are used to having in their life. Like most people don't talk, and there's gonna be hundreds or 1,000 people listen to. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of people are nervous? And how do you navigate that?
So no, I'm not really aware of it. In that regard, it never occurred to me until you just said it that I mean, I was obviously aware that I was creating a platform and an audience. And as I already mentioned, I am super incredibly blessed and grateful for that. But the notion that this is, I don't know, man. The notion that this has the potential to keep growing and get even bigger is a bit too bizarre for me to engage with earnestly.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's its own thing. I'm just kind of so I don't think it's too high-minded to call the types of video work that I'm doing on YouTube art, right? I'm not trying to, smell my own farts about it, but it is kind of a creative endeavor, and in such, I really don't feel. I've always believed that I'm not really responsible for the creation. I'm much more of I channel the muse, so to speak. Right, I get out of the creative force's way, and oh, nice, we got a whole lobby here. Ready up, ready up.
I will ready up.
Yeah, I sort of that's how I think of creative expression. Right, I am the vessel by which the creative force is manifest in the world. But just getting back to what you were asking about people being nervous, the only metric that I'm using to select guests is you seem cool, you seem good at risk, you seem like somebody I want to get to know, you seem like somebody who has some interesting things to say and share. And it's just curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had some really cool guests on. Um, I think you probably know I've listened to every minute of Waiting on Your Best Behavior that you've produced.
I've noticed.
Um,
Thanks, man.
yeah.
That's really encouraging.
Yeah. Before you ever even asked me on the first time, and at that moment it was like, hey, let's just like collab. I was like, this needs to happen. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, there's no way I can pull that off with my life. Like, like I would need to be able to have much more time in my life. So I'm really glad that someone who is charismatic as you and who has the time to pull it off like you do is doing it. I thought it was something that needed to be already. So
Yeah,
good
man. Well,
job.
it's thank you. It's available to anyone if you can figure out that sort of empty space where there might be a need and fill it with something that fits. I'm just surprised that this fits. I'm surprised that there is a need or a want for video work of this nature, right? It's super niche.
Yeah, it really is. Right now, do you foresee like in the future that Risk would become a more popular game and someone like you would all of a sudden like explode onto the scene of a more popular game?
um, so that's kind of a two-part question. The
Yeah.
first part is yes, of course. Otherwise, I don't think I would be working as hard as I have been working at this if I didn't believe there was a future where this game is much bigger and better than it currently is. So I fully expect the game to grow, and the second part I'm a little bit more dubious about. I don't think it would be another game that would call me, but you never know.
Mhm.
I think more what would call me would be something that okay, so step one, build an audience. Step two is what do you do with that audience, right? So if I have,
Mhm.
maybe I have something to say about other things as well that aren't just confined to a game. Maybe I would like to discuss my ideas and in a greater context and help solve problems and make the world a better place in whatever small way I possibly could, outside just merely, hey, let's have fun and let's get better at the game of Risk, you know?
Yeah, I do have some questions later on for you about things that you and I have discussed in the past. But there was, yeah, 20 questions before
Well,
that.
did I satisfy that one before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think so. I understand this may be a jumping off platform that if you get an audience, you'll use it to discuss other things that are important to you. And maybe what everyone else doesn't quite realize, or maybe they do because so many people have listened to you so much, is that you are so like it's almost like philosophically analytical, and you're constantly thinking about how the world is and how you can make it better, how we as a group should make it better.
Well, it blows my mind that everyone isn't like this, right?
I agree.
You realize that like I have to live with myself, right? I'm inside this crazy person, so it's like it took me so long to just understand that not everyone thinks like me,
Hmm.
and it comes now. It's not work, Phil. I'm not choosing to be super analytical about everything always, right? That's just my personality. That's what my mind likes to do. So it's not a choice at all.
I understand. Um, this so we're still on like question one, and I'm just going off on tangents because you're bringing thoughts to my mind. But
It's good, man. I
there was
like
a
it.
there was a time about 7 or 8 years ago we moved a few hours away, and I would drive back and forth. We were staying with my in-laws, and I would drive back and forth, and it was a 3-hour drive basically. And I would sit for a while. I'd listen to music, and then I would sit and I'd almost like have conversations in my head, um, and like go over like world issues, I would take sides of debates that I had listened to and like try to discuss them and stuff. And I can like it's not clicking. I can like see you like mowing the lawn, because that's what you do for a business and like just like hashing out all the
Hello.
world's problems, right? In your head.
Tubby's saying hi.
Hello.
How's it going,
Hi,
Tubbs?
Tubby.
Um, um, I spilled water all over my shirt, so that's nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
and how
bye.
did that make you feel?
Um, it was pretty cold, so it got me like, whoop. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Tubby. He's a fun guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so you're talking about what the context of.
What I envision you doing
Okay.
is like doing it when you do like these tasks that take almost no energy is just like going over something in depth in your brain. Is that what you do?
Um, define what you mean when you say going over something in depth in my brain.
So like if I think about like this is one we might bring up later, but if I'm thinking about, hey, we have a uh like a minimum standard of living, and then I'll go over like all aspects of it in my mind over and over until I like have come to an idea of maybe like how I feel about that in my brain.
Okay,
Do you do
no,
that?
no.
You don't do that at
So
all?
what I do to solve those types of problems is I talk to people. I have
Okay.
conversations. Yeah, those types of problems are more solved verbally in conversation with others. That's another big reason why I'm so interested in doing this show specifically. This is why the interview show is the work I'm most proud of. Right? It's because a big picture goal of mine in life is connecting with other brilliant, interesting people, such as yourself, right?
Thank you.
And well, the opportunity to do this is what my life is about, right? I don't really have need for anything more materially. I get a lot more out of connecting with my friends and family and learning about very interesting people, and that is my jam, dude. And it's partially selfish, right? It's because that's my process. In order to make me better, I need to solve my problems in conversation with others. When I'm working, I'm solving very selfish problems. It's more ruminating on my own sort of processes and like how to slightly squeeze a tiny bit more efficiency out of X or Y. That's what I'm spending my mental energy on when I'm doing that sort of task. It's like I'm here, I'm doing this thing, I want to be done, I want to go to the next thing, and I want to get the maximum utility out of my time possible. It's actually quite obsessive. Not necessarily in the best way. Like, I want to get just as I said, I want to get the maximum utility out of my time possible because I'm very aware that it is the only real finite resource that we have. Everything else you can get more of, but when your time is gone, it's gone. And
Hmm.
my approach to solving that has always been to efficiency maximize, for better or worse.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Cool. How long have you been married?
6 years.
6 years.
Coming up on 6 this August. We've been together a decade.
Nice.
And yeah, we lived in this house together. We bought it in our first year, after our first year together. So we lived here 9 years. And I can honestly say that buying a house in Toronto was the single best financial decision I've ever made. And that includes working. I just got dumb lucky for the timing. I couldn't believe that I could have afforded to do it when I did it. And the time to buy was always yesterday.
Oh, wow. So the
Yeah.
market
The market's
skyrocketed.
nuts, and it was already nuts when I got in, right? So I was very cognizant of the fact that this is something that is slipping away from sort of the average middle class person's wage potential, right? To
Hmm.
own a home in the city, and if I was ever going to do it, then I had to jump right in, and we got a place way nicer than I thought I was ever going to get. I'm really happy with this, and it wasn't like pretty when we got it, right? I've done a lot of work to this place to make it mine and make it feel like my home and my environment, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the little iterations and the little customizations to make something yours. You add the value.
Your video that you filmed with your wife, Joe, I think
Yes.
you've said her name on
Yep.
the, okay. I think that's actually where I've heard the name. Um, That was in your living room?
No. I wish, man. That was that's my buddy's cottage. I won't even call it a cottage. It's so there's an area north of the city called Muskoka where a bunch of lakes are, and a bunch of rich people have their lake houses. So this guy had his grandparents' property up there, and he is he's the youngest of 5, and both of his parents were doctors, and all of his brothers and sisters are like super high achieving folks. So, the 5 of them, and then all the wives and husbands and kids, right? So they have a large extended family. They're all doing quite well. So they raised the 2 tiny cottages on that property and built this like beautiful new sort of prefab but like gorgeous lake house. So we have the opportunity to spend a weekend there, every year or so, and super grateful for that.
Nice.
The air is clear up there too. It's really nice. You don't even notice that you're breathing in all the fumes when you're in a city until you just jump right out of it.
Yeah, I have the opposite thing where I go to a city and I notice it's the differences in the city because I live in a
Your
small
home
town.
is mostly rural?
4,000 people, and then there's soybean and cornfields around us.
That must be
So
nice, man. That must be very relaxing.
a lot of times it is. Yeah, it's different when you potentially know somebody everywhere you go than it is when you like, because I grew up in a we'll say a medium-sized city, right? Where there's way considerably more than 100,000 people, but less than 200,000. And it's different. You can go like to the other side of town in a big city and you won't run into anybody like hang out all day that probably. And in a small town, like you go to the gas station or the grocery store, and most of the time you're gonna know somebody. So
Are you
yeah.
still like close to the town you grew up in, or you said you moved?
Yeah, it's 3 hours away. I was just back on this weekend.
And
My brother
when
came.
you're in there, it's very familiar, right? It's like just what you said. There's always somebody you know. You're always saying hi. You're always like connecting with people. Like you have a sense of community, right?
No, this where I grew up was bigger, and where I'm at now is where my wife is from, and it's smaller.
Got it.
So now, like, I took the kids to the pool, and there was a kid there. The kids were like, "Hey, coach," because I coach baseball and football. They're like, "Hey, coach," they're like talking to, like people know who I am. I talked to this guy who has a kid my son's age, and like said hi to like 10 other people that we knew tonight. And that's normal. My kids both knew people at the pool. Um, so yeah, that's what it's like living in like a smaller area, on a personal side. And then but you also notice things like the difference in air, like you were discussing.
So I had a fantasy about moving someplace more rural, but I think I've actually changed my mind. I think I prefer a busier place with a lot of people now, and I think that has everything to do with becoming more of an extrovert.
Okay.
Like I almost feel like I became more of an extrovert on purpose because I just didn't want to be limited in that way.
Asylum wants to kill me, by the way.
Does he?
Well, look at how he just set
How can you
himself up.
tell?
And I don't have cards, so I'm probably going to be like the first one out today.
Uh-oh.
So how do I prevent this guy from killing me? Make him split?
Well, you're assuming he has a match on 3.
He almost has enough just to kill me.
Right.
I'm going to do this. So I'm going to make it a weird split.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it might not do anything, but I'm going to make it a weird split. We'll see what happens.
Gotta make him work for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Before you move on, I just wanted to
go
touch
ahead.
on something that you mentioned. That brief comment about using 30% of your brain on the game.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Because I've noticed, yeah, and in aggregate, I think that's probably a fair assessment. I've noticed this about you, right? That you are a much more careful, considering, calculating type mind than me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're far more deliberate in your game, and I'm far more instinctual.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I just wanted to touch on it. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to notice, right? I've been paying a lot of attention to all of the really good players that I get to play with, right? I'm trying to learn how to that's part of how to master the game for me, right?
Yeah. It goes beyond gameplay because like if I'm considering like should I let my kid climb up the slide, I'm trying to weigh like do a cost benefit analysis on like the risk involved in like letting my child go up a slide. You know what I mean?
Do you think about everything in this way?
I mean my mind's not constantly doing that, but a little bit. Like so yeah.
Is that on purpose? Are you in control of that, or is that natural?
A little of both. So what are the trade-ins worth? Just 20. See, you're so good at talking while you play, and not everybody is that way.
No, Obi-Wan was the one I noticed the most.
Yeah,
because
but
I guess
Obi-Wan had
he has such a strength with numbers that maybe his verbal mind struggles to keep pace with that.
Yeah.
Not that one necessarily needs to exist at the cost of the other. I was just juxtaposing it because he is so impressively strong with numbers.
Yeah, he really is. I really liked hearing what he had to say. It was different because he brought that complete analytical side to the game. You know, where a lot of people it was all fun personality or they've been doing it a long time, they play different game style, they have different viewpoints they're coming from, but with him there was such like a I think just like an analytical side to him that was rather amazing.
Bud Duck.
He's dead.
I'm dead.
Oh, you're dead.
That's me he's getting.
3v1. Oh, he got you.
That's me he's getting.
Yeah, I've enjoyed all your guests. They all bring something else. I'm surprised at how often they think they're doing a bad job. And I think, no, you were super interesting. Like your last one, Christina, like
yes.
she was convinced she was doing a bad job, and I found her interesting. You know what I mean? So
she doesn't even have to try to be interesting.
No,
that's why I was so gung ho about like, yes, Christina streamed to Twitch, yes, obviously, right, because she has like such a strong, loud personality that works so well that she doesn't have to like. I asked her if she'd seen the interview, and she's like, I haven't watched it yet. I'm too nervous. I was like, come on. You know, like there's no failure point here. There's no way you could do a bad job, right? So, how did you have fun? Did you enjoy the show? Then you win, right?
Yeah. She did a really good job. Yeah, I mean they all have. So. Yeah.
I agree. I'm very happy with the show so far.
Yeah, you're doing great. It's really interesting, and the way that you like make people feel comfortable and then keep the conversation going is impressive as well. And you're talking like as you're like murdering people. That's so
it's
funny.
hard. It is. It's a challenging
That's
format.
a hard skill. Yeah.
I like it. It's like, you ever see Hot Ones?
Hot Ones?
So
no,
Hot Ones is a YouTube. It initially started on YouTube as an interview show. And the format of the show is the interviewer. I'll link it to you. It's great. It's now on network TV because it's been so successful. The format is the interviewer sits with the guest and they eat progressively more spicy chicken wings.
Oh.
So you watch the guests start sweating as they're asking the tougher questions, right? It's a really clever format for a show. I love it. Obviously,
I wish I could kill Finley right now.
You should. You should definitely do it. Don't let that man survive.
I think if I come down here, I might be able to do it.
It's risky. I like it.
I know, but I die if I don't. You know what? He always takes risks on me.
He always does it. I know. If anyone should die to this, it should be Finley. No, he's saying oops. He's oopsing you, Phil.
No oops.
I think you get the 12. I think you get the 12 on 10 easy. 12 on 10, baby. 11. Oh no! No, Phil. Oh,
I had to try though, right? Otherwise I was gonna lose.
You were robbed. Oh no!
Oh, man,
this game was yours too.
Someone's gonna take him out. Oh man, I don't know what that percentage was.
Giving it to Papa Duck too.
I don't have cards, so I'm gonna die. I mean, I wasn't gonna make it another turn anyway.
Terrible.
I had to try though, right? Like, don't you feel like I had to try?
Finley's gonna chirp you now.
I don't care. I think it's 7 or 8 games in a row he's either killed me or tried to kill me in progressive cards. So I'm fine with failing because he failed on me a bunch of times. Like, I'm very aware of Finley, and I'm also very aware of Parlox as well, because Parlox will, if you take a continent, he will steal it from you regardless of what it costs. What's he doing? He's killing me. Okay.
Yeah.
And he didn't split because of the time. Yeah.
So actually, this is a great moment to just mention. So on Saturday, let me just confirm, 1600 UTC. Parlox and Tank made it to the finals of the 1v1 tournament, and I'm going to stream commentary live on Twitch as they do their finals, and Sterling has also agreed to step in and do some commentary with me. So for any of you listening to the show, if you are interested in watching the finals of the 1v1 tournament live, Parlox versus Tank, that'll be this Saturday. I think it's 1600 UTC. There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Just shouting you.
The next thing I had on my list was actually your risk goals, and one of the 4 things I was going to ask about is your commentary. You seem to be the only person doing this.
Sure.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
But where do you see that going, or what are your goals with risk commentary?
Sure. Let me just set up the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is fine. What are my goals with risk commentary? Well, so I am, not to toot my own horn, but I am somewhat good at it, right? In terms of, at least,
agree.
I'm able to discuss the game that is going on at a high enough level to be strategically interesting to the audience, but also entertaining in the sort of big bombastic personality that I can try and add, right? Keep an audience interested. So I've never fallen in love with any organized sports. And I know how important sports are to our culture. They just never spoke to me because it always seemed so mundane. It always seemed like, wow, I'm really, really interested in watching this person move this object from this side of, the game field to the other, right? And I know I'm not minimizing the achievement. Some of these people are extremely talented and world-class at it, and they make insane amounts of money doing it. But I've always felt that intellectual achievement should take a much higher standing in our culture over that sort of sports achievement. So
I agree with that.
Yeah. So what I'm doing with that part of the show, with the channeling my inner sports announcer, is I would like to see the game grow and see it become something like an esport. So you got to take that seriously.
If you ever make it into an esport where people make money, I'll have my agent reach out to you.
You have
So
an
that
agent?
no, but
I
I'm
don't need it.
gonna
What do I need an agent for? They take part of my money. I
yeah
can hype myself up. Thank you very much.
yeah no no you know what I mean. I was just saying that would be the life to play for money.
I'll play
So
Risk. Yeah, you're telling me.
yeah, that's everybody's pipe dream, right?
Yeah, everybody meaning like the 30,
Everybody that matters in
30
the
to
world.
50 of us who are actually good enough to compete, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you for including me in that. But yeah, yeah, I think all of us that are like on Discord and playing each other all the time probably um, would love to have this as a job, like other video games are a job. That'd be great.
It would.
Yeah. Okay. I have like if you could see, I have like this long list of risk questions, and on the other side, I have a long list of personal
Let's
questions.
do them all, man.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
long as you have time, I have time. You're the
I have
one.
plenty of
You're the
time.
one with the kids, so
Well,
we bend to your schedule.
my wife's putting to bed tonight, so
Hey,
the
hey,
young one will get out of bed. Go ahead.
can I ask you something about that?
Hmm.
So, the division of labor vis-a-vis having kids, right? I know it's a ton of work. And
Yeah.
you mentioned like trying to carve out some time for yourself, and I can only imagine how difficult it is. So my
Hmm.
question is, have you been receiving pushback from your spouse as far as how much time you are spending on this hobby?
No, I wouldn't say that. So like tonight, like yesterday, before I was able to talk to her, she had fallen asleep because it was my night to put the kids to bed. So
Ready up?
yeah, thank you. So like,
We're not used to
so
readying as grandmasters, right? We usually host our games, so you forget sometimes.
yeah, I've been married for. I'll put it to you this way: I've been married for 12 years and been with her for like 15 years,
Hmm.
and so you kind of know like an acceptable level, and also like I think about oh, like what would I find acceptable, right? And so I'm not getting pushback, but I'm also not competing in the tournaments that take hours to play a game, right?
Oh, I noticed that, and it was a bummer.
And
I wanted to see you compete.
I would love to compete. Like
Yeah, I get
I
it.
think people know me as a 1v1er, but I really I like playing multiplayer better. You know what I mean? It's just the time commitment is considerably different. Um, so
Yes, it sure is. I
all
mean,
right.
you and I are old school, right? We don't come to the game of Risk from 1v1s. 1v1s are this sort of interesting dint of the way the ranking system goes. But I mean,
Yeah.
I do appreciate them for their skill now. It's just my bread and butter in the game of Risk is sitting at a table with a bunch of guys and trying to figure out how we can manipulate them into fighting amongst themselves while I win the game. I'm sure you could say the same, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I do. So I've mentioned this before, but I play with my friends from high school on Wednesday nights. We started at the beginning of COVID, and that's how I got into Risk. And we do that. We hey, can I keep this? And I'll let you, I won't attack you till I'm ready to kill you. You know, things like that because we play progressive. Um, so even today, like we spend like 3 hours playing on Wednesday nights. So even today, like a considerable amount of the time, I'm playing progressive multiplayer with fog, sometimes zombies, and we're like wheeling and dealing. And then they like when I'm making a deal with person A, person B will like, come on, don't listen to Phil. He is always manipulating people. And then I'll be like, quiet Tom, it's always Tom. I'm like, quiet Tom,
It's always
like
Tom's
what?
the one who knows better, huh?
But he is also a grandmaster, and he got it multiplayer, progressive, fog, zombies. So he knows what's going on, and then the rest of the guys basically we just play on Wednesday nights. So, um, yeah, yeah, he knows better.
It's
But
too
you're
bad.
right.
There's always one of those ringleaders, right, of the kill Phil strategy.
It's a kill Phil strategy. Yeah, I think because Pink decided to go for the same spot as me. Let's accept the alliance. No, I already did. You see how I have to like pause and talk about what I'm doing?
Yeah, I get it. I
Just
do
gonna
too.
move up.
I'm just slicker than you. I do it in the gaps, right? I notice when I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say, and then I plan my next turn in that moment.
Oh, so smart.
Uh-huh.
So smart.
Maximizing the utility of my time, sir.
Out of the way.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
was
want
gonna
to get to
ask
the
you.
mall. Sorry, go ahead. Give it to me, buddy.
I was gonna ask you. You've mentioned having nieces and nephews,
Sure.
and I just want to know, like, what is your role in having nieces and nephews, and how that plays into your life.
Oh, well, so I'm not going to have kids of my own.
Hmm.
But I love my family, so it's very important to me that, everyone in my family is happy and healthy and feels loved. I don't have a great, close sort of situation because, although my sister, she has her 4-year-old, she lives downtown with not with my folks, but nearby where my parents live. They both moved. So I grew up in the suburbs, in like your typical sort of cookie cutter subdivision place. I have 2 sisters, and they're twins. That's a funny story. My sister Michelle is 6 feet tall. She's like my size person, and she's a chef. And then her twin Jenna is 5 feet tall, and she's a research scientist. She has a PhD in tissue engineer, so she's a professor at UBC. It's just very interesting how different genetics can be, right, between 2 people born at the same time to the same parents.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we grew up in that kind of environment, and then my folks, because they both are from cities, they moved downtown as soon as they sold their place. So Mish is there with her kid, and my parents are really nearby. What do I do here? I think I do this. So they have the power of geography. And
Okay. And you're left out.
I don't feel left out. That's not how I look at it. I'm not close. So I see them as often as I can, and obviously COVID put a real damper on that, but everyone's vaccinated now and we can safely hang out, and it is what it is, right? I'm grateful to my sister wants she said her son wants to go with Uncle Pete to the museum. And I would he still loves dinosaurs. I loved dinosaurs when I was a kid too. So we have a great museum with like a ton of like different dinosaur skeletons done up and other museum-y stuff, but my favorite is definitely the dinosaurs still. So
Yeah, they're great.
yeah. Yeah, and then my wife's family, we were up there this weekend, and her sister has 3 kids. It's actually the same story as me. So they had a son, and then just about 3 years later, they had twins. So their son is me, and then he has 2 younger twin. He's a brother and a sister, but it's the same sort of age difference. You know, you were expecting 2, and then you end up with 3. Well, surprise. So we were up there, and my wife hasn't been able to see her family in 9 months. Again, because of COVID, and she was heartbroken by that, right? Not getting to see her baby niece and nephew in their first year of life, really. So you could imagine how hard that would be.
Yeah, that is really hard.
So it was a relief. It was a relief to spend time with them this weekend, and I'm really grateful. I love family. I think it's super important. I think that extended families like they existed in history are maybe falling a bit by the wayside just in terms of changes in demographics. And that's kind of too bad because we lean on each other. Our culture seems to be more and more hyper individuating, and that might not be the, quote, natural state for humanity. The framing of people as separate, discrete individual entities, and that being the unit of humanity, might be kind of a false image, because I sort of think that the more accurate way to frame what people are is like an ant colony rather than a series of individuals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
No
I
man
think
is
so
an
too.
island. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's evidence for that in the fact that like there's all these studies that people do better when they're in communities, right? And people are happier when they have like a real social network and close family ties and stuff like that. So, yep, I completely agree with that.
I'll just say a bit more on that because I had this thought. So, did I mention this? The Voyager space probe to you?
Voyager space probe.
So the Voyager space probe was
There's
the
two of them.
yes, it was the
Yep.
first man-made object to leave our solar system,
hmm
and I think it was launched sometime in the 70s. And they put a plaque. They put a gold record with some sound recordings of humanity, but they also put a plaque on this probe that is sort of an image of a man and a woman naked holding hands, and the man has his hand up kind of waving. And this is the image they chose to represent humanity. And
Yeah.
there's all sorts of problems you can pick at, right? Why are they touching each other? Why are they not wearing clothes? Why are they white people instead of some other, right? All sorts of things you could pick at. But the thing that I pick at is that metaphor of perhaps a better way to encapsulate humanity in an image would be maybe an aerial photo of a city, not a picture of a man and a woman, right? Because the city is what we build. This is our environment that we create for ourselves, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're a colony and not just groups of couples. That makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said you're never gonna have kids,
Nope.
and you seem like you have many attributes that I think would make me think that you'd be a great father. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
like
but you don't know
you
me
like
that well yet.
that's true. But I'm just wondering why basically, like what made you come to that decision?
So my wife is 7 years my senior. So when we got together, it was much more of a, we have to make this decision fairly soon for just, actual boots on the ground type reasons. And given that, I don't really want it. I mean, I appreciate the compliment that you think I would be a good father. And if I chose to do it, obviously I would do my best possible job. But it's not something that I felt called to do. And I definitely don't believe that people should be made accidentally or without 100% buy-in from the parents, right? I feel
Yes,
like it
I
is
agree.
essential that, for the sake of everyone, not just the kids, that for the sake of the parents as well, that people are not made casually. That people
Not
are made very
exactly.
intentionally. And that was sort of the thought. If my wife ever said to me, I would be completely unsatisfied with my life if I wasn't a mother, I need this, then it would be a different story, right? Neither of us were on that team. Neither of us, we must do this now. And because we weren't 100% hell yes, then it was a no. She suffers from some kind of chronic illness as well, so that made it extra difficult. And just because of those reasons, it all, made more sense to me to just say, I won't be a father, but I can, hopefully add value to my friends and family's lives in different ways.
Yeah, you definitely, I mean, if you think about in the risk community, you definitely mentor or take you have a YouTube channel where you're teaching people, so there's an aspect of that just in what you're doing here.
Right.
Okay. Back to risk goals. What is your goal as like in a game? So I know you have a 1v1 account now, and you're last I checked, you were like 15th.
13th.
13th now, attaboy.
Yeah, buddy.
You're gonna pass me because I'm not grinding anymore. I did a little bit, but then I was like, oh man, I can't handle this. So you'll pass me before too long.
Gotta do it sooner rather than later, man. The ceiling just keeps climbing, so.
So what are your
I want to make
risk
top 10.
goals?
I want to make top 10 so I can call myself a top 10 player forever. I can put it at the beginning of my show. I never need to check my rank again. I never need to discuss it again. It's an investment of time at this point, right? Just put in the work, show that you've done the work, and then you can call yourself a top 10 player and you don't have to grind. Because it's not really about proving that I'm good at the game so much as it is... there's a very real credibility aspect when you're filming a show and you want to onboard an audience and someone comes in. It's like, well, who is this guy? How are they any good at risk? If you say you're a top 10 player, that's a pretty good shorthand. It's similar to one of the big reasons why I chose this game in the first place, right? Risk is a household name. So when some random person on the street be like, hey, Pete, what have you done with the last year and a half of your life? Well, I became, quote, world class at this game that you might know. It's called Risk, right? Yeah. So it's not all, and I like that this Tacos guy, he wants me to not break his content and he wants to break me. No, that's not Tacos. Sorry, that's Learned Onion.
Yeah, he's broken both of you.
This is a newer account. This is very typical for a newer account, right? It's like both I'm going to hold the content and I'm going to break you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
0-0.
You're not going to like how I get out of that one, bud.
You're going to go after him.
No,
I know how you're going to get out of that one because I've been on the other side of that. You mess with Pete too much and he goes after you.
He has enough.
Yeah.
So is that, I don't know, is that a fair risk goal? Like I don't need to be, like you got to top 10, obviously.
And it was specifically to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it is. I think, like it was harder to make Grandmaster playing fixed cards and playing progressive cards. Maybe I'm going to be unpopular for saying this than it was to like grind up the top 10 by playing Noobs, right?
Way harder. How is that unpopular? Way harder.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe someone that's in the top 10 is gonna be like, don't tell people that.
Yeah, don't spoil it for everybody.
Yeah. So when I'm like put in a position to like flex, I'm always like, yeah, I've made Grandmaster like all these different ways. Like I'm not multiplayer ways. I'm not like necessarily leaning on the top 10, but I do say it in my videos because it sounds cool. You're gonna kill him.
Nope. I'm just gonna fuck him. You can break me twice, and that's it.
I don't have enough to kill him because I have to go through that 12. I could come down and kill him. Can I? 26 isn't enough. I have to go through 3, 4. Not quite enough. I could do it if... Oh, I just lost connection. Oh, I'm reconnecting. Okay, that's fine.
Do you think Velvet knows that he locked that 15 in there? Or maybe he's trying to give me a safe border?
Okay, now I have to move quicker.
Get him, Philly.
I'm not going after him because I don't have the trade yet.
Right.
But... Oh no, I deployed wrong to do this. We'll do this. I'm just going to be sneaky. I may have to attack through you, but somebody else may get it.
If he has a trade, I'm boned.
Oh, because it didn't accept my trade. Oh. It didn't accept my trade is why that happened. So now I might die.
See what happens? See what happens, Phil? Every time you get into a war with noobs. Every single time.
Kill you.
Oh, GG.
I just wish I was going after
That's so
this,
funny.
not right before.
It's so funny because I'm the idiot too, right? I'm just as dumb. I put myself in this situation knowing this was going to happen, and it happens.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that brings up something else I was going to ask you
Yes,
about.
sir.
You do what I think Obi-Wan said it metagaming, which is where if somebody's messing with you in this game, you will blow both of your games because you're looking at playing them 15, 20, 30 times,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Um, I was wondering if you could just like speak on what's going on in your head when you're doing that, because I think people look at you and they say, he suicided on,
Yep.
I don't remember if you suicided on Olive or Finley. You suicided on Olive or Finley, or you suicided on Phil, or like whatever.
Sure.
But I think you're doing something different than just trying to play that one game, and I think people need to hear this.
I think you might be paying me too much credit. Maybe I'm just a dangerous, crazy person.
Yeah, that's what you want people to think.
That's what okay, good. So that segues into a story that I wanted that you just triggered from my memory. So, Richard Nixon, when he was in the White House, apparently, I'm gonna fuck this guy again. I can't help it. It's too funny. So honestly, Phil, sometimes I'm just like, fuck this guy. Like that's there might not be another level sometimes, but sometimes there is. No, the Nixon story goes, he wanted other world leaders to think he was dangerously crazy with his finger on the nuke.
Yeah.
And that was a strategic choice. So if there is any amount of fear that can be engendered in the minds of your opponent, particularly if you're, known as a, feared opponent, if you're, oh my god, it's Pete, right, from the Kill Pete strategy, blah, 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 you got to kill Pete, it's a bit of a mental inception, right? Even though I'm not, like, I've played a lot of really good players on Discord now. I'm not pretending to be, any better than a lot of guys out there, but it's more of a strategic sort of emotional response that you evoke in your opponents that might tilt them, that might make them make bad decisions in the moment, right? That might make them think twice about doing that bullshit because now he's dead and hey, maybe I'm dead too, right? But we both lose. So this player is going to Learned is going to remember this game, and they're going to maybe bring it up in the chat, and we can talk about it and go from there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it metagaming? No. Maybe yes. Maybe it is metagaming, but it's a lot less intentional than you think it is. I like sending that kind of message. I want people to like Machiavelli, right? The prince. Is it better to be loved or feared as a leader? It's better to be feared.
You think it's better to be feared?
Yes. I think in this well, yes and no. So you take that to the nth degree, and then you end up with alts in the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See,
why
he's saying
alts in the
GG.
tournament?
Exactly. This is good. He's saying GG, and that's what you want. You want to be like, no hard feelings. It was well, I was the first to lose. Let me know who wins. Good. Excellent. Alts in the tournament because take somebody like Spike or somebody like Ares, right? They're known. They're really good. They're known for being really good. So you just see that name in your lobby, and you're like, well, that's target numero uno. And maybe they don't want to be target numero uno at the higher levels, right? Maybe they want to compete on a more level playing field, right? I kind of invert that expectation. I go, yeah, I'm me. This is who I am. This is how I play. And I'm showing my work, right? You guys, if anyone's interested, you guys can see hours and hours and hours of my mind live on television. So it's all there.
We really can. Yeah, we can see you. There's so much of you out there now. We can see like your thoughts and opinions on things. Where's he going? Is he killing Black?
Oh, he's killing Black.
Killing Black.
Okay.
he have it? Can he cross there?
Yep.
Okay.
Good kill, Finley Pope 27.
I don't know if we all get more turns now.
Well, the match
he
isn't
killing
big
now?
enough yet.
What's it at? It's 40.
Is it?
What do you bet he tries to kill me next?
Nah, you got more troops. Kills
You.
me.
You're dead.
Kills me. I
Yeah.
die. Bye. I regret
I was
nothing.
gonna kill you, Pete.
I regret nothing. That's a close one.
Hey, Pete, I was gonna kill you.
I believe you. Too little, too late, my friend.
I know, he's got it. Okay, so now we all have a ton of troops. I'm playing on my mobile, so I just go super fast.
I played a game on this map on mobile for one of the first or fewer times ever, right? And it was this weekend, and I got into an end game with me and Nick, and I was getting so dumb lucky getting sets on 3 back-to-back. So Nick's like taking the whole board, trying to capture me. I just pop back up with another 60 troops and capture as much as I can on the phone, but it's just too damn slow, right? But
yeah,
I wasn't in VC, and I could only imagine the screeching from Nick. He was like, why won't this guy die? You know what I mean? I wish I was there. I wish I got that one recorded.
Well, I can't kill white.
You got the cards?
I can't kill blue.
He's got the cards! Oh, baby. I think you can kill white.
Well, I can kill him, but then...
Yeah, but then you
I only have 2 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm way too slow. Like, this is just a fool's game right now. I'm just going to attack as many places as I can. White will probably attack as many places as they can, and we'll just see what we can do here.
I'm just going to get another drink quick while you capture this board.
Yeah, because now I'm like really thinking. Let me know when you're back. Oh, you can't hear me. Well, people. How many territories can I capture? Okay. That's good. So yes, I'm just spreading out, trying to capture as much of the board as possible, stay alive. I think white's going to do the same thing because Finley took so much of the board. We have to minimize his bonuses and also spread out enough so that no one's going to kill us immediately on the next turn. The white's going to make it impossible for me to kill him here because I'm playing too slow. Finley can probably kill him if Finley has a trade. I don't know why he's saying oops.
No matter what, we can't let Mianbao win.
I mean, yeah.
Mianbao is such a good sport. He's putting up with me relentlessly teasing him. And it's so funny. I think it has to be that he finds it funny too, but it's always nice to find someone that you could really like chirp pretty hard and they play along. That's my kind of person.
Okay. So I asked about your goals in the game. Is there any other game goals? Like, do you want to like win a tournament or any other game goals that you have?
Yes and no. So obviously I want to win a tournament. I always play to win. But coming in second in the first tournament that I competed in was such a blessing in disguise. So I've always been a collector. I've always loved, like I have a side business selling vintage toys and video games that I got into eBay back when eBay was new. One of the first businesses I had was doing that. So I have a bunch of like old collectibles, Transformers, G.I. Joes, Nintendo games, all that stuff, right? And one of the things I noticed about collecting is the joy of the collecting is immediately extinguished when you finish your collection. So I purposefully don't finish the collections that I truly value. I leave one or two things undone, always. And they never get finished, because I don't want the perfect collection, and I don't want to move on to the next thing. I want to have that little open-end sort of... I like that I finished second in my first free-for-all tournament. You know what I mean? That's really great. It's like not...
That is awesome.
It's not quite the win, but it's also a pretty good finish. So... Do I want to win a tournament? Yeah, eventually. I don't think that will kill it for me in terms of all of a sudden lose the love of the game and stop wanting to play. Is Mianbao going to go for Finley? Oh, yeah, I think he is. Oh, let's see if he's fast enough. Oh, let's see if he's fast enough, man. That's awesome.
Well, let's see what happens if he doesn't kill Finley.
Yeah. He's not fast enough.
He's just spreading out.
He's changing his mind. Okay. Well, no, I think he thought about it, and then I think he stopped because he realized he wasn't fast enough.
I think at this point he has more troops than me. He's faster than me, and Finley's going to get cards. So at this point,
he should attack you and get Finley to kill you.
Maybe, yeah, I think so. And then I think Finley does kill me, but doesn't get the trade. I'm wondering what Finley will do.
That's a lot of the board, though. If Finley kills you, then he won't have enough time to get Mianbao out of the rest of that half of the board. This is a great endgame. This is a great endgame. I like this. Is he going to kill you? Oh, it looks like.
I think... No, he's just spreading out.
Yeah. Just spreading out. As far as game goals, yeah, and maybe just a little bit more about what you said. Be an ambassador for the game, help onboard new talented people like Mianbao. Like the video I shot today, I don't know if you've noticed some of the chats. There's a grandmaster named Kilted who has been asking some really, on-point questions about the game. So that just told me, like, hey, I want to get to know this guy, play with him a little. So we shot a video earlier. Like, guys like that, or like someone like Sir Tyler, right? Finished third this free-for-all. Just like really, I like investing in, potentially the next crop of really talented people. I want more really good players. I want better competition. Those are my game goals, right? The people.
That was a misclick.
Oh no. Did you end your turn?
I fortified. Yep, I hit fortify.
That's why I turned that end stage notification on. I misclicked that one too many times. I'd rather.
Yeah, I think twice. I have it on, to tell you the truth.
Oh,
I must have double clicked. I think I double clicked. Yeah. I'll blame it on you. I was listening to you. You were so interesting. And...
Maybe I will take all of the blame. Thank you, Phil. No, maybe another thing I really want to suggest to SMG is there doesn't seem to actually be a need why we would have to commit to fortify once we've clicked, right? There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to toggle back to attack if we have yet to make the fortify.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no game reason for that, so. All right, you inspired me. I'll bring that up. I'll post to the Discord.
I heard you mention that one other time too, so, and I thought it was a great idea at that time as well, because there's just too many times like you're trying to click super fast, but I don't know if it even affected my game. Like with how quick these guys are going. Like, these are the type of games where, like, I'm just, like, a big map. You have to attack super fast, regardless of what mode I'm playing on. Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
You like these big maps, and you like, basically, progressive, big maps, and your speed, like, helps you dominate. Mm-hmm. To me, we're bringing in a slight like video game aspect into Risk, and it changes what it is, right? My fingers are too big.
Fat fingers disease. Is it fatal? We shall find out on this episode
of Waiting on Your Best Behavior. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, that, hey, we brought a video game aspect into a board game.
That's inevitable.
Yeah.
So, there was a thread on Reddit I got involved in This was before I made a couple videos at this point, but this was before I got on the Discord. So we're talking like half a year ago at least. And someone posted a quick clip, and it was me dominating them in the end game, right? Boom, 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 killed. And I posted in response, it's like, that was me, I'm the red player. Here's how you get faster, and you can do this too. And the guy's like, yeah, well, it's kind of cheese that PC has this speed advantage. And I say, I'm not creating the system, but as a player of games, what I believe is I will take every legal means to win available to me. And anyone playing a game with me should expect that I will take every legal means to win.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
my position. I'm not going to cheat, but I'm not going to apply some sort of ethic external to the structure of the game we are playing that limits my ability to win if it would. Right now, I feel like a lot of people want to be all high-minded about this. It's like, well, I win the right way. And that's up to them, but I think ultimately that's just gatekeeping. I'm not interested to tell you that I'm right.
I'm not saying that someone who's taking advantage of the system, right? Because we all do that. Because we set up certain game modes, and that's how we make it. You know, we're not like randomly choosing game modes, right? Finley's gonna beat me. I'll make him work for it.
Yeah,
He'll have me next turn.
Yeah,
But, you know.
Well, also, he's on his phone, or he's on an iPad, right? So you guys are both playing mobile right now. Mobile versus mobile endgame.
Yeah, except for we're completely different skills on this thing. Our thumbs are way different.
He's got the super thumbs.
I didn't grow up thumbing.
No?
Well, no, because we didn't have cell phones back in the day. I wasn't a video gamer.
No?
No. Okay. So, Storm has some questions for you.
All right. We're doing the Storm questions.
Yeah. Your outlook on life in 6 words.
Oh, man. That I'll have to think about. 6 words is not a lot. Hope. That's the first word.
Hope's a good word.
Well, so my core values, I have 3 core values: time, freedom, and peace. So time we actually touched on already. You only get so much of it, so you might as well use it the most, right? The most and the best you can. Freedom is really my core value. I want to live as free of a life as a man that I possibly can. And I understand basic liberty theory, right? Your freedom must be constrained such that it does not impinge upon the freedom of others.
Perfect.
But yeah, but I have set my life up such that I am about as free as I possibly could be, and I have created the luxury of time. GG Finley Pope 27.
He's really good.
And then peace is something that I've started working on more recently. Peace. Will you set up a game so that I can keep talking?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the classic map.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we got hope, we got time, we got freedom, we got peace. Peace I'm working on because I was fighting with myself. I've always been fighting with myself. It's really hard.
Define this fighting with yourself, because you've mentioned this before.
Yeah. Oh, define it?
I want to know, like, so you get people on and they're talking about like their mental health issues and anxiety and depression. Can I give you the code and maybe you can post it somewhere?
Yes, sir.
Or where do I put? It's EGQ3E. EGQ3E.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one, you have a knack of bringing that out in people, right?
Sure.
It's like they want to talk to you about it. They feel comfortable talking to you about it, even on a public forum like this. But two, you've mentioned things like I hated myself, I was bullied. I listen, and I really think about what's happening on your podcast, and or you hint at like depression, but not anxiety, I think is how I remember it. So can you like, but usually you're doing it in a way to like boost what the other person's saying. So as far in depth as you're comfortable going, I would like to hear about that.
Sure. Ask me something specific, and then we can jump off from that.
Let's start with being bullied as a kid.
Okay. So I was well liked enough by everyone in my class growing up that I could talk to almost everyone from that era now, and I could talk to them. They would know me and they would say hi. I was never a jerk to anybody, and my basic rule is as long as no one's a jerk to me, I won't be a jerk to you. And so there was, always some bad apples, and I now know a lot more about bullying, and the person doing the bullying is really sad, right? They're trying to show how big and strong they are by picking on someone else, and that actually comes from a place of lack inside, right? You need to make yourself bigger at the expense of someone else, and that's really sad and pathetic. So I have a lot of sympathy for people who also might have been hurting, but at the time they would pick on me, and I didn't necessarily know how to defend myself, how to stand up and shrug it off and say, well, I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm me, and you can go fuck yourself if you don't like it. And now I know that. So that was a valuable lesson to learn. So in a way, I'm grateful for those who wouldn't have been nice or treated me kindly, right? Because you are forged as a man through that.
That's a good quote. You're forged as a man through that. Okay.
through your pain, through your suffering, we are forged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes through our failures, right? As well, they cause pain and suffering. As well, I think we can be we come out the other side of our failures a different individual as well. Go ahead.
The trick is gratitude, right? The trick is being in the moment grateful for your suffering. Grateful for all the good in your life and also all the bad, because it's you, it's real, and it makes you who you are. It makes you a interesting, whole person. Like, integrity is a great word, right?
Mm-hmm.
I aim to be a person of integrity. So there's two meanings, right? There's the meaning of integrity that you are a respectable, forthright individual, but there's also a meaning of the word integrity where you are integrated, right? The state of being whole. Oh, you're not playing that?
I didn't do that.
Oh, did you drop? Looks like your game got kicked. Are you still
It was too long. There was only 4 people in my lobby. What
do you want to do? You want me to post something?
Yeah, post something. I think people will, if you maybe choose something different, people will jump in.
It was classic? Was that the problem? Okay, well, no, I'll play something phone friendly though. I'll play. Do you like Japan? Oh no, you specifically don't like Japan. Do you like Italy?
I don't care that much. Yeah, Italy's good.
Sure, we'll do Italy.
Maybe Zero Key. Wasn't Italy where Zero Key? You had him down to 1 troop.
Oh my god, yeah.
I remember that was awesome. Sorry that it happened to you, but yeah, you almost had him, and then he got you all on the next turn. So
that sounds like something Zeraki would do, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's a great player. Okay, I'm coming in.
All right.
Okay, so any more you want to say about bullying or?
It's if you can find a place where you have sympathy and empathy for a person doing you harm, you come to a place where you can understand it. That's how you integrate it. That's how you can say, I went through this difficult time, and I'm coming out the other side forged. I've made it a part of myself. I understand it completely, and now we can move on.
Do you have sympathy for the devil?
They're not the devil. There's
You know,
there's no
do you know
such
what I
thing.
mean?
Like
I don't either. I don't
the
think so
Stone
either.
song.
But that's based off of a verse where, first off, I'm not saying anybody should believe either way, but that's based off of a verse where the devil tempts Jesus. Like basically, Jesus is at a bad time, and the devil tempts him, and then he looks at instead of looking at him with hate, he looks at him with sympathy, because this person is the evil that he is because he lost what he lost, right?
No,
So,
give me that one more time. I want to understand this.
oh, okay. So Jesus spends 40 days fasting in the desert,
Okay.
right? And then at the near the end of that 40 days, the devil whooshes him up and takes him on this journey to show him everything that he can give him. Basically, he'll flip sides, but he's being very cunning about it, right? And in this story, he's being tempted because he's hungry, he's tired, he knows he has to die, right? Oh, Storm's joining. Awesome.
Hey.
And so, um, you know, he doesn't fall to the temptation, of course,
Because he's
but
Jesus.
yeah, but you have this hatred for this person who's trying to like manipulate him like a used car salesman, right? I don't think used car salesmen are evil either, by the way. But then he looks upon the devil, and instead of having hatred for him, he has sympathy for him because of, he's a fallen angel that was on the right hand side of God, etc. So every time I'm looking at people who maybe do me wrong or whatever, I'm like, this was a good moment in that book, right? But do you have, it sounds like you almost have like that sympathy for the devil. You sympathize with the people that have done you wrong.
So, an important thing to consider in my response here is that I'm not really an angry person. I don't.
Sometimes you seem like it in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what I mean by that is I definitely get angry. I'm not pretending that I'm some kind of emotionless robot, but I don't dwell in anger. I don't get consumed by it, usually. More often what happens is I get loud and I get hot and then I get over with it. Then the anger's gone and I can move on with my peaceful life, right? So,
yeah.
What you're triggering in my mind is a book by Hannah Arendt called The Banality of Evil. So, you know the word banal? Are you familiar with this book?
I'm not familiar with it.
But you understand what banal means.
Is it related to like benevolent?
No. So something
I have
banal
no
is
idea what banal
ordinary
is.
or average.
Okay.
So it's the boringness of evil. Right?
Oh.
Evil in reality is not bombastic cartoon Disney villain, right? It's not Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. It's the Nazis officiously recording all of the information on documents and meticulous records of the horrible deeds that they did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's true evil. And it's not cinematic. It's always justified, too. The best villains in any story have the most convincing argument for why they're the hero.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. That's what my favorite villains in literature, the ones that are most convincing to me, are the ones that think they're doing good. They've convinced themselves on their own bullshit. So, all of that to say, if you don't think you are both good and evil simultaneously, you probably don't know yourself very well.
Yep.
Okay. Did we get that one? Is that a
Yeah,
satisfactory answer?
yeah, that was a great answer. A lot of these questions I'm just coming up with off of just what you're saying, and then I want to ask you this. So, okay,
Can I let me finish Storm's question because
Outlook.
we got 4 out of 6.
Sorry,
No,
we'll
no,
keep.
it's good. It's good. No, to Papa Duck's offering me a lines. Yeah, yeah. Don't you send me hearts, Papa Duck.
Hope, time, freedom.
Yeah,
You were on
I was
peace.
on peace. So peace comes from my desire to be done with the struggle, even though I now know that it's much more likely that the struggle just continues for the rest of my life, and that's a good thing. By struggle, I mean work. I'm going to have to work, and I find satisfaction in life from that work.
Okay.
The fifth word I would pick is joy, and joy is a really hard word for me to connect with. Oh, is Papa Duck going to take that? No. Smart. I wouldn't have taken that either. Joy is a hard word for me to connect with because it's so fleeting,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
it's also so desired, right? Oh, get the fuck out of here! He
I
wants to
heard
go
you
that.
mention
He wants to
one
go that
time
way.
that like happiness is not necessarily the goal,
Right. A lot of people
and
think
that
it is.
yeah. So, what is the goal? Yeah, I mean, I think this plays into joy because I think you have a different view on this than a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, you look. If you get to decide anything, you get to decide your goal. But there are going to be a lot of times in your life where you're not happy through no fault of your own.
Hmm.
Things are going to happen, and they're going to be shitty and they're going to be hard. And this guy making the lines with me just to break it. Right? So if happiness is the goal and you failed your goal through no fault of your own, then that might be a bad goal. What I like to do with goals is I like to iterate them to a place where they are incrementally achievable. It's not just about finding your North Star, it's also about walking the path. That's a great quote. You want a title? You want to? I usually like to do a quote caption, so that might be a great caption for this episode. It's not
That is
about.
awesome.
It's not about. It's not only about finding your North Star. It's also about walking the path. So I seek wisdom, right? As a philosopher, that would be, I would say, one of the biggest goals of a philosopher. So I am on.
Hmm.
We hope I am on the path to wisdom. But the incremental steps to get there matter, right? I also want my life is a process, right? There is no end state in life. You know, you've often heard life's a journey, not a destination. So it's not about getting there. You don't want to actually get there because there is the end. What you want, okay, I get it. Message received, sir. Message received. If you would let me be an alliance, I would thumbs up. He's slow rolling me. No.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's all good.
Well,
It's
but
all
he
good.
just did it once.
No,
He sent a message.
I'll thumbs him up. I'll move. Don't worry, I'll move. I don't know why you want that territory so bad, but you can have it. Life's a journey, not a destination. I think I got lost for what I was saying, though. Oh well.
Oh
It's all good.
yeah.
It's all good. Wisdom. Well, the steps. Right. The last bit of that was the steps. So you want the lived experience of your life to be as enjoyable as possible. You want to actually. Well, there you go. Enjoyable. You want to be in joy, right? You want to relish the moment, the lived experience as much as you can.
Hmm.
That's it. That's the thought. And then my final, the sixth word is also a really important one. So
I love it.
that skepticism, right? So my folks are an interesting combination of. My dad is like a, sort of wise. He was a teacher,
Hmm.
an educator, really kind, really like peaceful guy, and then my mom is, and my dad's a philosopher too. I would say that's how I grew up being asked these types of questions and thinking about it, and so that's where it comes from in me. And then my mom is more of a really volatile, really suspicious, quick to anger, easily offended type person. So the combination of those two makes me a ultimate skeptic, I would say. It's really, really hard for me to believe anything. I'm not ideological, other than maybe that ideology that I just said, that I hold skepticism as essentially a virtue.
I do too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I would figure, like your dad, right? I would figure that would be something that I would, above all, try to express to my kids, how important being skeptical of everything you're told. There, at every single step along the way, your kids are going to be bombarded with bullshit and people trying to manipulate them and sell them shit they don't need and lie to them and try to get them to believe what they want and do what they want, and it's always a fucking trick.
Yes.
And you need to enable your kids with the tools to not get fooled as much as possible. And that's what skepticism means to me. I'm not trying to be contrarian, but I need to make up my own mind. It's my life. I'm the only person who cares enough about me to do that. Everyone else is too busy with themselves, and they should be.
Yeah, I do try to instill skeptical values in my kids, and it's really just the Socratic method. Basically, you ask them a bunch of questions, and you kind of maybe they lead them in a certain direction, right? But if you just tell them something, then they're like, the kids don't want to listen to their dad all the time, right? But if you
would hope that they would, though. You're a pretty smart dude.
They're 8 and 4, so they do listen to me quite frequently, and on things like that. Not when I tell them to like stop pushing their brother over or something like that. But but they do still like seek our guidance. They're young enough to seek our guidance still. Yeah, but I think it's important. I think we should bring that type of critical thinking and actually teach it in schools more, because I think we're teaching them a lot of facts, and we're teaching them all sorts of different book things, but we're missing out on this big aspect of like how to think.
Yes. Well, not to get conspiratorial here, but I suspect that might be on purpose, right? That's structural to the system. The system doesn't want free-thinking individual people. The system would like you to be a nice, obedient production and consumption engine, right? Oh, fuck off, Papa Duck! Are you serious? I can't. This fucking 5-stack isn't safe anywhere.
You can't go anywhere. Everyone wants you to leave.
I guess I don't blame him. I wouldn't want me around either.
I haven't asked you to leave yet.
Yet. Yeah.
I mean, I was hoping he'd kill your 5-stack, but
I know someone just shit at
that's
this.
just for my game.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything more you want to say about these 6 things?
No, that's good. I like that question a lot. That was a very thoughtful one. 6 words is hard. You have to pick and choose, but I think that's pretty comprehensive. Maybe wisdom is in there too. Peace and joy could be combined. You want to do a whole category on wisdom, but we touched on it, so that's good.
I'm going to ask you a risk question, because I feel like you and I could go down a long rabbit hole about you've mentioned meditation.
Yes.
And I feel like that meditation and mindfulness and how important it is in life, I think we could go down a rabbit hole, which may last the rest of the time. So I'm going to... Let me find... I have a few risk questions. Okay. I really loved when that debate happened with you and Olive and Finley, and not because I love the drama necessarily, but I did. but also because it opened this huge debate about proper way to play, or what you should do in certain circumstances, etc. And I just love that big open strategic conversation you opened up within a community, because everyone saw it, then people were talking about it on Discord, etc. And I was just wondering, like, now that it's over, and you guys are still friends, you were friends the whole time, but now that it's over, like, what are your thoughts on like the fallout of that game? And I think, like me personally, I think things like that benefit the community because it gets everybody talking
I
about
agree.
like
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, so first thing I want to say is if you are interested as the audience to watch the game in question, it's on my channel. The title of the show is there an objectively correct strategy for the game of Risk? Okay? And in this game you will watch, it's just the four of us, me, Phil, Finley, and Olive. Three really good players and myself. And
Was this one with Stove?
oh, it wasn't you. It was Stove. You weren't in
I was
that
in
game.
I was in a different. I was in
Stove. Oh, I'm
like the
sorry.
week or two before.
So
No
was it a
worries,
six
man.
player? Was it a 6-player game?
Yeah, you had like
Okay.
you had killed at least one person, and then
I'm
you
thinking. I'm
guys had
mixing two games.
trapped.
I'm mixing two
You
games
had
up.
trapped Finley and Olive in
Got it.
Asia and Australia, and they were trying to punch their way out through you. Then you went after them
Got
because
it.
basically they were only hitting you and not hitting the stove.
Okay. So what ended up happening was Finley and Olive stopped me from achieving advantage in the late game, with the expectation that I would break Stove and restore the balance of the game. Right? Their expectation is that I am playing with the balance of the game in mind as a goal. Okay? And I wanted to subvert their expectation intentionally because I don't agree and I don't believe that I have to play anyone's game but mine. And I think that might be why my performance in the tournament finals that I was in might have been off-putting some people, right? Because I got a few people message me after the fact, be like, Pete, and this was a fixed game. We're both talking about fixed now, right? Which is not necessarily my forte. So I'm also humbly here admitting that this isn't, I'm still learning a lot about this format, and I don't presume to tell Finley or all of that they're right or wrong, but what I am saying is I have an opinion, I disagree with their opinion that seems to be encapsulated in the idea that there is such a thing as a...
It's not worth killing these guys yet, is it? 27?
It's up to you, buddy.
They get 20... I think it is.
Do it. That 5 cards a lot.
Oh, it's going to be close. I thought it was...
Now it's going to be closer. No, you're dead. You can't do it.
I might
No
as well
way.
try.
6 on 7? No way. No way. No way. Oh my god.
I don't have time. No.
Blitz it. Blitz it. Blitz it. Oh! Fiddle-dee-dee.
Fiddly D. And he's next. Is he going to come right after me? I'm just going to say, oops.
Oops.
I thought I had that with how many troops I had in our
Yeah,
you got a bad roll.
no, your split was bad. If you put a 4 there, you just guarantee 100% you would have gotten it. Then you wouldn't have had to redo it.
Oh, you're right. And he just takes me out of that side of the map. I die. I'm dead now.
Good riddance. Oh, and he buried his 15? That's a weird play.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about that. And so the conversation, I was just so elated to have conversation on that level because, coming from an environment like Reddit, this is why I'm on Discord, right? Because at least I can disagree with really smart people and it doesn't just devolve into fuck you, no fuck you. Right? Like,
Yeah.
as fun as that might be. So yeah, of course, I love Finley. I love Olive. I'm so grateful to have these guys as friends, and I'm so grateful to have friends that I can respectfully disagree with. And I think that Olive, I've now learned from talking to, is an extremely, extremely logical mind. Right? Olive sets
Yeah.
himself out on a goal, and it is single-minded focus. It's like, I like this, I want this, I'm going to get this, and this is the way it is. The benefit of that is the single-minded focus is extremely efficient at achieving your goals. The downside is you can be inflexible. You can have trouble adapting to changing situations on the ground. Like that end game where I was obviously not bending to what they kept telling me to do.
Yes.
Right? So, Finley's different. And I think Finley's thing is more a function of age. Right? So, Finley is what, 15?
Correct.
And
Yep.
he's brilliant. Right? Just like Parlox.
Man.
These two guys, like, I am so excited to watch the trajectory of their lives, because I have no doubt that both of them will achieve great things.
Good at every game mode.
Yeah. Well, no, this is why I've often taken to, like, just jokingly be like, Finley Pope, one of the best risk players in the entire world.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yep.
Yeah. It's great. It's great to play with him. It's great to have someone with his humor. But I think he's inflexible in a different way. I think Finley's inflexible just because he actually doesn't know better, for lack of simple lived experience, to see that there might be more going on that you just don't have access to if you're... And I do refer to sort of Champ's work in this regard as a bit ideological, right? That the acolytes of Champ's theories on fixed cards tend to be a bit too dogmatic about that, in my opinion. But again, big caveat to that whole conversation is I am not claiming to be a master at fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that. So when, as an observer, like, of that conversation, like, if I am them, I realize it's not working. And then I released a video that kind of like described ways out of that, right? Later.
Yes.
Which I had in mind for a long time. But I was like, I should do this now because people are talking about it and it was on the forefront of my mind. But yeah, when I am like playing somebody, I'm constantly thinking about their behavior. And when you're hitting somebody over and over again and they're not changing their behavior, like they wanted you to attack Stove, right? And they thought it was the only logical thing for you to do to attack Stove. And if you wanted to win that game, it probably was, right? If you wanted to only win that game, because they hit you so hard that if they didn't hit Stove and you didn't hit Stove, then you all were going to lose, right? But if I hit you once or twice and you're not changing your behavior, then
who's the idiot? Am I the idiot or are you the idiot? Right?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not even saying that because I'm not trying to like say anybody was wrong in this situation, but like I try to like, oh no, you're gonna die.
Oh no.
I'm just sitting hoping that someone fails a kill. That's what I'm doing with my life.
Yep.
Yeah, but like when I play, you asked me the other day when I was playing a fixed card game, like why I left 4s on the borders. And then in a different game, someone asked me why I only left 1s on the borders, like one of my next games. And I was like, huh. Like that's my intuitive side. I'm watching people play and then like looking at their behavior and then thinking like, what do I need to do in this situation to get the bonuses or to get the upper hand, right?
Context matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How people are playing and behaving. I call it like managing behaviors in my head.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you call it whatever whatever you want. Or maybe there's actually a terminology for it. So, but yeah, so if I see you not reacting, I'm probably changing my behavior to try and win the game.
It's so I would the word I would use is adaptive heuristic.
Adaptive heuristic.
Right, so heuristics is
I
fancy.
learned it from watching you, Pete.
Yeah,
I learned it from watching you.
fancy way of saying rules. So we set up these time-saving rules in our head so that we don't have to invent the wheel every time. We can say if this happens, then that happens, and that's how you can see me adapt on the fly, oftentimes in situations where it looked like something was going to happen and then something else changed the situation on the ground. So your heuristic adapts. So that's how I would frame it.
Okay. That's, I have noticed. So I noticed this when um I was talking about revenge in a video, and then you were talking about, you basically said you're not using the word quite right. Um, and I was using maybe like my understanding or colloquial understanding of revenge, but you are like, your vocabulary is crazy.
I'm a words guy.
Yeah, because we talked about I would just say it's a thought experiment, then I'd explain the thought experiment, but you knew the name for that thought experiment immediately.
Sure.
We both know the thought experiment, but I don't have that vocabulary. So what is it about your mind that makes you able to do that? Is it natural, or is it something
Yes.
you've worked
Oh
on,
no,
or
definitely
okay?
natural. I mean, I credit, you'll laugh, but I credit a lot of my early vocabulary to watching Star Trek The Next Generation as a kid.
Mm.
So I love that show, and the vocabulary they used was quite advanced for a 9-year-old. And that helped me, fall in love with the nuance of expression that English can offer. So English has the world's largest vocabulary, and I'm grateful to be a native speaker of English because just by virtue of all of that variability, you can fine tune meaning in English more than just about any other language in general, right? And certain things like Inuit, they got 30 words for snow or whatever, right? So yeah, we can talk about specific things that might be environmental better in some languages than others, but in general, English is the most versatile language because it has the most words, and we think in words. So the better your vocabulary is, the more clear your thoughts are to yourself, better you can understand what the hell's going on.
Good point.
But it's natural. It's not something that I really worked. I don't really read very well. I fall asleep.
Oh,
I can listen to books. I can't really read books for a long period of time. My mind doesn't really let me. I either fall asleep or I lose patience and I start doing something else. And
that's why
it was
you
tough in
asked if
school.
Johan's book was on tape.
Yeah,
Yep.
immediately. I don't, I'm going to read it, but it's way more efficient for me to listen to a book while I'm doing something, while I'm cleaning my house or while I'm working or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But not just efficient. I actually have some kind of, I don't know. I'm starting to come as an adult to now frame it as a bit of a learning disability, right? My lack of desire to read or my lack of ability to read or however you want to think about it. But I got my degree, and I don't know if I'm ever going to attempt school again, but if I do, I can look at it in that newer light, that I might have to work around reading books. Not saying you shouldn't. Reading books are very important if you can develop the skill. I just haven't been able to figure out how for myself to read quickly enough to get a lot out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a terrible reader as a kid.
Hmm. Did you
Like,
beat it? You figure it out?
yeah, yeah. It may have been misdiagnosed because later it turned out I had eye issues, which make it very difficult to read. But basically, my eyes focus outwards, so then the words on the page after I read for a while, my eyes get really taxed and they'll go up and down. So I walk around all day not wearing glasses, but when I read, I wear glasses because
Okay.
they take the strain off of my eyes. But I was diagnosed with visual memory learning disability when I was a kid. So I was a terrible reader. I didn't learn to read till really read until like third grade, right? And then I had this amazing teacher that got me into. I was really into baseball, and she found baseball books for me. And from third to fifth grade, I went from being in like the special reading group to being in the top reading class, right? So Mrs.
Excellent.
Burns, thank you.
I'm glad you
Yeah,
fixed it.
Mrs. Burns, thank you. But I was talented in math, but I never devoted the time to becoming great at math. So like I could have probably gone somewhere in life with mathematics skills if I would have like developed it on an early age. But I just wanted to be outside and play. I just wanted to play games with my friends and play use my body. So I never harnessed the ability. So I'm average at math now. I could,
Don't you use math in your profession?
Okay, so
Better than
I'm
average.
yeah, yeah, but if you start spitting off trig to me or something, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody uses trig.
Yeah, 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 but you know what I mean, like,
Yeah, totally.
yeah. So, okay, yeah, I wanted to ask you about. We both lost early in the 1v1 tournament.
Yes, we did.
Tell me your thoughts.
So I lost Mianbao, and
Oh, yeah.
I tried, I would say, reasonably hard in that round.
You didn't know how good he was yet, right?
I didn't get Machu Picchu caps, moreover, right? I didn't get to a place where I walked in on that day after a week of work where I said, I feel confident that I understand what to do. I didn't get there.
Mm-hmm.
So what pissed me off about losing was trying and not learning. But I'm glad it's somewhat cathartic to realize that losing to Mianbao wasn't necessarily all that tragic because he is much better than his seed would have suggested.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
I lost to. What is his name? He's top 500 now.
Oh, good. Okay, so it was a similar situation for you too.
Yeah, he was much better than his seed suggested. He played a really good game. But Pete,
You were upset, right?
I was very upset with it.
Man.
But also, I want to tell you something. I walked into that game thinking I was one of the best people in the world at Machu Picchu.
Okay.
And I had good reason to, because I was crushing people when I was playing Global Dom, just winning over and over and over again. And then at night, I was playing with all these high-level grandmasters, like people.
Storm botted, no.
Yeah, she said she was boarding a plane.
Oh, okay.
And I was winning more. Like the first few days I played, Frail Wolf crushed me, Tank crushed me, and then I worked super hard on it. And I walked in thinking, I'm one of the best people in the world at this game. I was super confident,
Right.
and I lost anyway.
Right.
Yeah, like I had got, I like understood it. I had gotten myself to a level where like I just thought I was great, but I wasn't as great as I thought.
And then you had that emotional experience where you have to face that.
Yeah, and everybody knows it too, right?
So what was that like?
It wasn't the first time something like that has happened to me. It wasn't even the worst time something like failing in public has happened to me. You mentioned that you didn't care about sports and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the sport that I fell in love with the hardest was wrestling, and it's a one-on-one sport. You also have a team score, and I had made it to our state finals, which means you're in the top two out of there's like 64 schools, and then they each have probably 3 people at that weight. So whatever that is, 180 some. Well, you're in the top 2 out of 180 some people in that weight at that activity, and it was on public television and there was like 9,000 some people there, and I failed miserably. Like, to someone I had previously beat, he did something that I didn't know how to counter. I did the very next day, but I didn't know how to counter it at that point. But yeah, so I failed. I mean, that was a way bigger stage to fail at. So it hurt, but it wasn't brand new suffering to me. It was something I already knew how to deal with. You know, go over it in your mind and then work to get past it, right?
Would you say that might be another one of those moments where you were forged?
The one that I just had?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and
I think
the
so.
one you're recalling specifically.
Yeah, I think so. Like, um, I've always had this demeanor about me, but I have not always been okay with as much. And it took like mourning that loss, because that was like my goal in life at that point when I was young. It took mourning that loss to be like, what are you gonna do to me? You know what I mean? Like, I've already like been humiliated at something that was my goal. You know, I
That's
felt
so
humiliated at least.
funny that you would use the word mourning. So you're grieving
Cherry used
the...
the word mourning too, if you remember. Or
Yes, she
used,
did. Yes, yes, that's true. So you're grieving the loss of what? Your sense of self, the effigy that you had built. This is all ego stuff, right? We're grieving
yeah,
for the death of who we thought we were when we realize we can lose at something that we didn't think we could lose at.
yeah, yeah.
Well, how
And what
self-absorbed
I,
is that?
it was super self-absorbed.
Yes, yes.
And in an activity like 1v1 Risk,
Yep.
you need to believe that you are great even if you're not.
Why?
I Maybe you don't at Risk. Hmm.
So Parlox, I think, would disagree with you. Parlox, who is, I'm going to plug it again, who is competing on Saturday in the finals of the 1v1 tournament. We're all very proud of him. Was chatting to me a bit about his run, and he was like, I think part of my secret sauce here was not expecting to win. Right, having to fight for every single game, not underestimating any opponent. And I thought that was actually a brilliant thought, because he's not walking into there with the normal you would expect from Parlock swagger, right? The kind of like joking around, and I like him, right? He's not an egomaniac, even though he might appear to be on the surface, but it was a cool thought.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I'm approaching it incorrectly.
Hey, whatever works for you. Right?
Here's what's not happening
If
though.
you want to be Conor McGregor, be Conor McGregor. Right? Walk into that
McGregor.
fight with the biggest attitude in town and see if it works.
Yeah.
Just never fail.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm not doing. I'm not taking anybody for granted.
Okay.
Like I was going against someone in my first round who's basically a novice, and I practiced like crazy for that novice. And the same thing for the master who's now top 500. I wish I remembered his name because he deserves credit because he did good.
I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah, I didn't I practice like crazy. So maybe I don't need the ego part of that. And maybe that's something that like maybe that's why it still hurt a little, but I had the tools to get over it, but maybe that's why it's still a little because I'm still holding on to some type of ego.
Right.
Interesting, Pete.
Well, I'll just reiterate how much better I felt after realizing that I didn't lose to, quote, some bum. I lost to Mianbao, who is now, top 20, and done it faster than anyone I've seen since I've been around. So he's definitely no slouch, right? He's working really hard.
Mm-hmm.
That made me feel a little bit better, at least.
Okay. All right. I have
Dutch
multiple.
Shields.
Dutch Shields, yeah.
Dutch Shields. Okay.
I was like, I wonder how that guy's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. He did good. He gave himself an opportunity to beat somebody, and then he capitalized on the opportunity. Good job. He was good enough at the time and probably even better now. Storm wanted to know your habits that people might find weird or odd.
Weird or odd habits. Okay, so I am a 99th percentile orderliness person. So that is the loudest color to my personality. So if you love order and you crave order, what ends up happening is you notice, you're hyper noticer. So my environment is it can be chaotic and it might appear busy, maybe even messy, but not to me, right? Everything is exactly where I want it to be, and if something isn't where I want it to be, I know. So I'm very bothered when my environment, when the disorder, the entropy of the universe naturally creeps in, right? When the disorder creeps into my environment, it makes me feel unclean. So
Oh,
I do a lot of things. Yeah, this is apparently orderliness is associated with disgust sensitivity. So I'm a bit grossed out by. I think of order in a hygienic sense, right? I'm a bit grossed out by my environment not being in perfect alignment. Is the best way I could describe it to you. Can I take this middle? Am I going to be allowed? What do you
I'm
think?
not going to do anything about it.
No? I'll wait one
I'm
more.
just going to move that 2 away. Well, you have to
I'll
go
wait.
through my
I'll
2.
wait one more turn. I can take this middle next turn. So a lot of the first of all, coming to realize that about myself was super helpful because I always knew I was an outlier. I just wanted to know specifically in what way, and then I used this information to notice the ways in which other people were manipulating me.
Oh,
Yeah, well, like my business. So you know, at my largest, we were mowing 400 something lawns a week, and I was getting pretty shit money for that. But I was enjoying the act of putting all of those tiny, intricate little pieces into order. I found the work itself intrinsically satisfying in a weird way. So knowing that now, I can reframe my goal. So now my goal has, you know, the the ethical obligation of a business. This is from my business ethics class, is to make money for its shareholders and stakeholders, right? So if you're running a business for any other reason, you might be doing it wrong, at least according to business ethics theory. So if I'm running this business to make myself happy, while that might be nice and high-minded, it's not technically a business. The point of the business is to make money.
hmm.
Yeah. So
I
that's
see
that.
that. I see that a lot.
Yeah. I imagine you do. People holding on to dead businesses far longer than they should be, right?
Yeah, I deal with employers a lot with their retirement plans. So I see that coming from them, and then also like, my company's a business that I work for is a business as well. Um, so I see where people are in the United States. You get tested to make sure you're not like favoring the owners or the people that are like highly compensated. And it's this big, strenuous process that costs the company money. And so they will you can get out of those tests by giving people like a certain amount of money. So instead of their motivation being, we're going to give people money to incentivize them or, you know, make our employees happier, sometimes you see them giving people this money into their retirement plans so that they can like contribute more to their own retirement plans without having to like be bothered by these tests.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Pete.
Yeah. What did you expect me to do? Tell me that wasn't exactly what you expected me to do.
I was just trying to see what would happen. I moved my 2 out for you.
Yeah, but look
What
now.
happened to what
Now
happened to good neighbor
because
theory?
now I guard a +4 from a single position, and nobody can get in on me. You don't get +6. That seemed like win-win-win for me. And you buried your 6 stack. You didn't expect me to break you?
I didn't expect to hold it. I just didn't expect it to be you, Pete.
It was me. What are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
Get
I haven't
even.
decided yet. When the time is right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Revenge.
That would be funny.
Revenge with Phil is always a dish best served cold.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one of her questions. Oh, I want to know, like, a lot of people have these stories or moments from growing up that helped define who they are as a person.
Yep.
And I want to know, what is that for you?
Oh.
Or what are some stories that you have?
Oh man. So it's funny. The first thing that came to mind there was a decision I made when I would have been about 13, and there was so we backed onto an elementary school, and we lived on the path. So there's a path beside my home that led to this elementary school in the back, and every year they would have this kind of carnival thing, and I was always I had such issues with social anxiety. I was a very shy kid, right? I might have touched on earlier that I've kind of beat my introversion out of me, right? I don't present as an introvert anymore, right?
Not at all.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. I kind of beat that out of me. So this was one of the earliest sort of starting moments of that, when I was walking down this path and I was trying to be, my normal timid self, and at some point in between when the path started and when the path ended, I was like, no, I'm going to approach this with confidence. I'm going to, forthrightly step forward into the future and take what comes as it may. I'm going to stand up, put my shoulders back, stand tall, and face it. And it was just a visceral feeling that indescribable, is such that I'm bringing it up all these years later, right, to you. You don't have
What is it about the path
afraid.
that... What were you fearing? Like, go into your fear more.
People.
The people on the path.
I'm afraid of being judged. I think we all are. Judged by people.
Okay.
Saying, you're shit, Pete. We don't like you. Go fuck yourself. And I mean, I think that's very normal. I think a lot of people have that. Oh, we're all skipping. Mm-hmm. If that guy's going to skip, I'm going to skip. Maybe not you, because you need cards. You don't have a continent. Aries has a continent. You're in a tough spot, Phil. Yeah,
Someone's gonna kill me right now.
So my mother allowed me, when I was a younger kid, she kind of enabled this social anxiety. So she, if we went to a playground and there were other kids on the playground, I'd be like, no, Mom, I don't want to play with the other kids, which is like, shut up, go play with the kids, or shut, you gotta face it in your life, you gotta deal with it. But she kind of she would just like drive to another playground and let me play by myself, which in retrospect might not have been the correct decision, because I get so much more out of spending time with people than I've spent a whole hell of a lot of time in my own head, man. It is exhausting, but we did it.
That's good. I'm glad you got over that.
It's still not totally dead. There's still a little bit of it left in me somewhere, but I've been working on it so hard. Remember, I made a joke to you, actually, one of the first times we were chatting. I made a joke to you, like, the week of pandemic lockdown beginning, I had just finished a 2-month-long improv class, which was a fucking blast. I recommend it to everyone. Improv is super fun. And I said to you, Phil, I was like, wow, I sure am glad I invested in all those new social skills that we can't use because we can't talk to people. But it's so funny because in such a weird way, I never would have expected. I feel like some of those skills I'm accessing for the show.
The improv skills.
Absolutely. It's yes and, right? Just rolling with it.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping the conversation going.
Keep it going. Exactly. This one has been effortless for me. Thank you so much for the hard work setting up those questions, right? A little bit of thoughtful prep work makes both of our lives so much easier.
Yeah, I've been listening to you and knowing that we had a conversation. It's like I may never get on the show again because there's so many interesting people to talk to.
Oh, that's not
But
true.
if I do,
Yes.
I want him to dive into this more or that more or this more. And so there were already questions in my head. So I sat down and within as fast as I could write, I basically filled one side and another of things. And then I was like, if I get into trouble, there's no way we're going to get through the whole list. If I get into trouble, I'll just go out to your questions.
Sure.
So, because you have some questions that are like standard questions that you ask.
Yeah, they're posted in the little podcast server.
Yeah. But basically what's happening inside Phil's mind is I'm like, oh yeah, I need to ask a question. And then we just we're just having a conversation, and like 90% of the questions I'm asking you are not on my list, just coming up in the conversation naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one that's on your list. You always ask people like, it's kind of like, what's the most important thing? But I think the goal of your question is like, what's the most important thing to be successful at risk, which could then translate to other aspects of life as well, right?
Yes. Yeah, what's the lesson?
So, yeah. But Spike's answer was mindset, right? And you had heard that on his Ask Me Anything. So what is the most important thing to you in depth about what it takes to succeed at risk? And you can take that to life after you discuss risk if you'd like.
So I'm fishing for an answer other than mindset, because it really does seem like attitude is everything.
Mm-hmm.
The way you frame your questions colors your entire experience. So two people could be experiencing the exact same event simultaneously, and it could hold an opposite emotional valence for the two people. Here's a fun story. This is a great example of what I mean. We previously had a cat where we would bring the cat with us to visit my wife's family when we would go. And I remember we were getting everything ready for the car. We picked up the litter box, okay? And I was about to schlep this thing into the car. And the cat piss had melted a hole through the bottom of the plastic litter box such that it collapsed. So now we have this gross sort of, cat litter shit pile in the staircase all over everywhere as we're already rushing to try and get everything packed and out the door, right? It's already like a, not anxiety, but like a fairly more hurry up, let's get this done sort of moment. And then you get boom, right? Shit everywhere. So how do you react in those situations? Because for me, I remember this. I bring up the story because I remember how my wife sort of looked at me and she was just like, wow, you're not really responding to that emotionally at all. I was like, what's the point? Go get the vacuum cleaner. Clean up. The mess will be most efficiently cleaned up if we don't freak out about it, right? It's like when you see little kids around a bee.
Like a bumblebee?
Bee. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna sting me, right? Like, fucking chill. The bee doesn't care.
No.
Why do you?
Yeah.
Right? And you can apply that to everything. You can actually apply that to some really horribly emotional situations, right? You can apply that to like the death of a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
You could be grateful for the time you spent and the love that you have for this person who is now gone. Or you could dwell in the reality and the sadness that you will never see this person again. And both are true and valid, right? But
I think this is a mistake that fate's about to make.
Certainly. Why? Why are you doing
Why
this?
at this point?
Why now? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to cop out on the answer, but the truth of the matter is I agree with Spike, and I think he's spot on. And it's something I've struggled with. Being my own worst enemy. That if I could just sell myself on the reality that everything's going to be fine and I am perfect and whole right now in this beautiful present moment and I'm so grateful to be alive, if I could just know that in my bones and get out of my own head about what are anxiety and depression, Phil, but for preoccupations with the past and the future.
Perfect.
We're not living in the moment, right? We are living in this fiction of a time that doesn't exist, and we are spending our now in rumination on the past or in planning for the future, and neither of those are real.
Mm-hmm.
So, hack your mindset, right? Figure out what you want. Figure out what you have to do to get it. Weaponize the knowledge. The sum total of human knowledge exists in everyone's pocket. It is a crazy, crazy time to be alive. You cannot say that you are not getting what you want in your life because you don't know better. The only reason you're not getting it is because you're not willing to do the work. And that's also fine. But own it. Own, like my relationship with vice. If I'm going to smoke the cigarette, whatever the cigarette may be, right? We use the metaphor, right? If I'm going to do this little vice that will kill me slowly, if I'm going to waste a piece of my day not being productive, at least I should own that fact and enjoy the shit out of the vice for what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was this moment I was listening to somebody's speech on YouTube probably, and they were talking about mindfulness.
Yes.
And prior to this, I had looked for external things to make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily happy, but content, feeling good, etc. And it never really occurred to me that like I didn't need a promotion to become happier again, or I didn't need a new car, or I didn't need this or that. It never really occurred to me. Any of those things never really occurred to me until I had this epiphany moment where it was like, okay, there's other types of work you can do as well, and that's work on like your internal brain, and it starts with like noticing what makes you happy, what makes you sad, noticing how you can change your mood, whether it's through like music or just, okay, I'm angry, why am I angry? And then sometimes you just giggle at why you're angry, right? Because it's stupid, and I've never been able to describe it very well, because there's people who I think that's they're 100% of the why they're not happy or why they're complaining or whatever is they're not doing that. I feel like you would already understand that, what I'm talking about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so what you're touching on is the juxtaposition between intrinsic and extrinsic validation.
Perfect.
So, if we are seeking external validation, what we are doing is we are running on an infinite hamster wheel that never satisfies us. Fail? fail, Papa Doc. No.
Oh, I lost connection. I'm not seeing it. I keep losing connection, then coming back, and then a bunch of stuff has happened.
Useful.
Yeah.
At least the VC's still good.
Oh, different devices.
Right. So your phone reception is lousy?
No, it's really not. I don't know what's happening. I'm not too worried about it. Honestly, these games, like I'm not like invested in whether I'm winning or losing the games because my goal right now is more to like, well, I'm kind of getting lost in just talking to you, but my goal coming in was to like give a good interview and not to necessarily
Hey,
like
so far so
win
good,
the game.
man. So far
I think
so good.
so.
Also,
I think it's going well.
you shouldn't admit to that.
That was my goal.
No, that you're not trying.
It's not that I'm not trying. I am
Okay,
trying.
got it.
It's just
Not trying
I'm
as
not,
hard as you otherwise would. You're not giving 100% of your attention.
There you go.
Right. No,
Yes.
I get it, man.
Yeah, I still am gonna try to win if I can, but there are moments where like I realize I haven't seen what's going on at all. That
Well,
makes sense.
how fascinating is that to try and articulate what splits your attention, right? Like, our focal range is actually quite narrow. We can only pay attention to, like, think about when you're driving is a great example. You know, distracted driving laws now are approaching something similar to intoxication. We can only pay attention to a very narrow frame rate. And the ability to focus can be a superpower. Like, you've heard of the book *Sapiens*?
You mentioned it on our last
I did.
podcast.
Okay, so I can't get enough of recommending this book because it was just such a great synopsis of the story of our species. And the author, Yuval Noah Harari, is known for meditating for 2 hours a day.
Ooh.
And also going on like month-long meditation retreats every year. And I was taken by, is Ares going to kill everybody?
That's his plan. He's gonna kill me next. He just indicated he's killing me
I
next.
saw the setup.
Yeah.
How's he going to get it? How's he going to get it all the way in on you though? 40
He has that
troops,
8 to the
40
16,
troops
and
is a
then,
lot of troops.
and then he just has to split on the 12 and 13.
Right. Okay.
So he's got me pretty easy.
Papa Doug says he's tilted. I'm sorry to hear that, Papa Doug.
Sapiens.
Okay.
I don't think he's.
So just to finish the point on focus, that was the thing about this author that I was so taken by, how he tells the story with such coherence. Right, he's not really. There's nothing informationally that was all that. Wow, I didn't know, but to hear the story of us be told so in such a compelling way, very impressive. So being able to focus your attention is essential. Fuck off, for real? Should have put more troops there.
You're trying to come after me?
Nope. Of course not. Why would I do something like that?
I've heard of this book in other contexts as well, so.
Yeah. It was a fun one.
What to do? I wanted. Success. I want to give, for me, what it takes to succeed in something like Risk, if that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Because last time you asked me that, and I was just like, yeah, it is that, right? But I think I have a more comprehensive meaning. I think it means to do. People always say to do what other people don't, but just to do like the nitty gritty or however you want to put that. And okay, so then let's take that a step further. What is doing the hard things? What's doing the nitty gritty actually mean? And like, if you go to like a soccer club or a debate club or any type of group organization where they have like a goal. Let me just play my turn.
Yes, sir. Is that territory
not
too
connected?
thin? Too thin to click on?
Oh, it wasn't connected. I thought it was. I'm gonna hit this guy because I did not like that he took out my other spot.
Aries?
I'm just gonna... Yeah, he took out my other spot. I didn't like that. I'm gonna die anyway. I'm just gonna go everywhere. Let's just mix up the game a little,
What do you
shall
think
we?
of this map? Do you like it? Or is it too like small? Too many small rooms?
I actually know this map.
Good.
My friend, my friend Tom, who sets up the games for us on Wednesday nights, loves this map.
Right on.
And then we do fog, and then I basically just get really aggressive and keep taking, because I mean, someone could be hiding somewhere with one little troop, right? And I basically just get really aggressive and just go ham on people.
Oh, so close. Damn it.
He had that 25. He could have done it
he
with
did.
if he needed to.
He did.
Yeah.
GG.
He would have done it even if I didn't attack that turn as well, because it might have been worth the one card for the trade-in. Okay, so if you think about like debate or any group where they're like trying to make a group of people better, what do? They practice, play, and learn. And so like a lot of times what that means is, they watch film, they study the game, right? So for us that would be like YouTube or reading this book that we talked about earlier. Let me think if I can remember the name. We'll come back to that. And then the practice. So for me, like, practice is like going online and playing Global Domination. You play over and over and over, and then play, like, get in lots of tournaments, get in lots of community Discord games, etc. So I think that if somebody can be like well-rounded in all those aspects, you're learning from watching videos, reading, talking to people, having debates, and you're also practicing, so you know the maps, you know the pathing, you know the situations, and then you're playing grandmasters. I think that is what it takes to become a champion at Risk. And you also, in anything, have to have natural ability.
Okay. Oh, I fucked up. Damn it! Ah, this map's so tricky, dude! It's so tricky! Fuck! Aries wins. God damn it!
You have to just go crazy.
Cock sucking fucking fuck. God damn it! I can't believe I fucked up so bad! Ah, fuck you!
Oh man.
He fucked up and then I fucked up.
He just has to ultimate trade it in. Oh, this person's just going after you.
Nah, they can do what they want. I tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Papa Duck says, man, we all suck. We all suck.
Yeah, this wasn't the best game to show. Aries is... I think he's doing alright, right? Where did he mess up?
Oh no, when he fed me Papa Duck.
Oh, okay.
Right? He gave me Papa Duck on a plate, and then I didn't get toggled. So, toggled matches in, and now we're back in that three-player endgame. So now what's going to happen? Aries is going to eat me?
I think so.
Let's see if he's fast.
I eat you if I'm Aries.
If you can.
Anyways, that's what I think. Yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but that's what I think about it. I think it can be more specific than just mindset. It can be like doing the necessary. Okay, what's the necessary? This is the necessary.
Sure.
But people can succeed by just playing or by just practicing as well.
Right. So that's the combination of skill and just industriousness. Are you a natural talent? Are you going to outwork your opponent? Are you some combination of both? And I think one thing I will say about players at the highest level of this game is it's definitely both. You didn't get me. Look at this. Look at this nonsense, Phil. I can't believe it.
Did he not get you?
He didn't get me.
You didn't put enough over there, huh? Okay, so then you can trade.
Sure
It's gonna
can.
go for a while.
Sure can.
Can you kill anybody?
Aries trades next, so what I need to do is...
Try to hit only Aries.
No.
That's not what you're gonna do.
No. I'll take the center. I'm going into the castle. And I'm hiding.
Nice.
Come get me, fuckers.
That's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, as an outsider looking in, you do think that like when you learn that like everybody's 1v1ing to get ranked high,
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking like, okay, so they're just good at 1v1. Or and then you realize, oh, they're not playing anybody good to when the people in the highest ranks, and you're like,
So
they're
they're
not
not
even good at
actually good.
1v1.
Yeah, they're not actually good. Right.
But then when you meet and play these people and realize they're like
Yeah.
great at everything, but their mindset is I'm going to do whatever it takes to like
Correct.
get there.
Yes.
I mean, these are the best people. They're not the people you're finding in random lobbies, you know.
Well,
So
look, here's how I've thought about it now that I've actually earnestly tried to rank up and grind like you guys, right? What you're doing is you're showing the community that you are dedicated enough in terms of time to grind and get there, because these these skill point thresholds are set by everyone.
hmm
So I am proving that I'm willing to spend the necessary amount of time to get there, to exist alongside you as a top 10 player. That's what I'm doing.
nice. Yep, that's a good way of putting it.
Yep, I'm willing to, if I'm willing to do the work. It's not necessarily proving anything in terms of skill. It's like mining Bitcoin, right? You have to invest a certain amount of energy, and then you get a result.
Yeah,
Because you've proved that you... Okay, now I die, right?
I think so.
Oh, he doesn't match. Interesting. He doesn't, but he removes my exterior position, so they've toggled match, so he can just eat me. Because then Ares knows Ares can be toggled in the end game.
Yeah,
Fiddle DD. This is a very funny finish.
I like this finish.
I know it's funny. I'm enjoying. So how are we doing? Are we winding down, or are we going to play one more game?
What do you want to do?
I'm down to go as long as you are, because I know you put in some effort into these questions, and I want to get to as many of them as I can. I die. That is the.
I didn't expect to necessarily get to every single question.
Okay.
If you want to play one more, I'm definitely down.
Excellent.
I have some questions that I'm just dying to ask you.
Okay.
So if you're cool with it, but I need to go use the restroom first.
Sounds good, man.
Okay, I'm going now.
So now, can Ares win on this turn? Because if he can't, Toggle's holding 5 cards. We come back and the end game continues. It's a fun finish. Yeah, and I don't think Ares can take it. Oh, maybe he splits out with that 10, sure. Nice. Looking better now. How does this get both ways, though? Also the clock. All right. So now what Toggle has to do is he has to come out swinging, and he has to hit as much of areas as possible, break all the continents, run around the board. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
I'm back.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
What's up? So they both matched. They're both still alive.
This is a good game. Oh, and then he went the wrong way.
Yes, exactly. Harrison put in plus 15. Hilarious.
Yeah, he needed to break him. Aries 106. I'm betting on Aries just because Aries is an amazing player. But I don't know Toggled, so maybe Toggled is that great too. Do I have you, Pete?
Say again?
I was saying I play with Aries quite a few times for me,
Right.
and Aries is a great player. So that would be who I betted on. Why is he doing this?
Oh, yeah.
What's his strategy here? Why did he block his army and do that?
Because he screwed up the pathing?
Oh, you think so? This is a super complicated map.
Yeah. Once you get it, though.
Yeah.
It's just so many twists and turns.
Okay. More questions for Pete.
Yeah, buddy. This is great. Can I just say that I've said this to you personally at least once, but I just want to say it publicly as well, that I think your work is underrated, and I think that everyone listening would get a lot out of listening to your show. So let's do the promote just one more time. It's Risky Phil on YouTube.
Yes, 2 words, FIL.
And then Phil on Risky Phil on Twitch. I'm gonna post links to Phil's channels in the show notes. I really enjoy listening to you.
Thank you.
I really enjoy talking to you. So I think a lot of people who are into this very specific niche would as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Thank you. I'm happy that you enjoy it.
Feelings mutual, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can kind of reiterate what I said at the beginning, in that I've listened to all your Waiting on Your Best Behavior. So I have a priority, Waiting on Your Best Behavior, and then I'll want to watch Fix Friday if I can. And then a progressive, and if I can do that every week, then I probably caught
most of
5 hours of Pete.
So much, I know, it's crazy. I don't expect
That's a lot.
anyone to be able to consume this, but
yeah. So I probably spend half of my risk time watching videos on you, and then the other half I spend spread out with probably Champion Evers getting more than anybody else. Zirip and Sam get a lot of my risk time because there's no sound, and I can fit it in when the kids are watching a movie and I'm cuddling with them, or if I'm putting them to bed and I just need to be close to my 4-year-old to make sure he's not constantly getting out of bed.
right.
So those two, I've watched a considerable amount of their videos, and they're very good players, so I learn a lot from them.
Buddy up. Hey, can we just dwell on that for a moment? Can we talk about Zerep?
He's a great player.
Well, I want to go more than that. So
Go ahead.
I haven't asked Zerep to be on the show yet. And I think he's definitely someone who I need to get to know better. Have you spent any time getting to know him? He was very gracious in helping me when I finally first got on 5-a-side. He was like, "Hey, do you want to learn some 1v1?" So he helped me with Supermax specifically, but a couple other ones as well. Just seems like a very great guy, interesting guy. And I want to. You think you'd say yes to doing the show?
I think so.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Never
Um,
does.
I haven't had a lot of like personal conversations with him. So like if you look at like our five-a-side team, like I've like chatted back and forth with everyone on a personal level except for JB Steamroller, which I would have if he didn't live in, where was he live in Germany?
Oh yeah.
Is that right?
I don't know.
And Zerub just seemed to not be on at the same time as me. So, but like everyone else I've had um, personal conversations with. I just know that Zerub seems to be one of those people that can do everything. Good
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I noticed that. It's
yeah,
intimidating.
yeah, yeah. So,
I'll ask him. I'll ask him to try and find some time.
and he's an actuary, and that's an interesting job. Kind of, I'm wondering if he's going to have an analytical mind like
Oh yes.
Olive and Obi-Wan
Oh
did.
yes. So I'll tell you. When did you watch the tournament finals this round with Zerup and Cowboy and Cherry and
I watched the highlights
okay.
and I watched oh, it's my turn. And then I got on for like an hour and a half and listened to you and Stove, and Buck was on for part of that time at least
Right.
commentate on it.
So
Hmm.
we did a recap show where everyone from the
I saw
finals
that.
got to
I listened to that.
So
Yeah.
Zerup didn't get on when I was recording much, but he did DM me a bunch of like specific notes that I got to read out. So just to speak to the analytical mind, that was extremely detailed. It's like, well, if this happened, then that happened. So then I noticed this player did that. So then that was when I knew I was boned because, right?
Hmm.
And just like a series of logical train of thought, which speaks to I think what you're talking about.
I would want to hear him speak.
Me too. We'll do it. I'll nudge him. Hopefully it won't be a hard no like Champ. That was I can't say I was surprised, but I was a little bummed because
Well,
you know that the audience would just eat that up. Everyone wants to hear Champ talk.
yeah. Everyone wants to hear his voice
Maybe
for
that's
one
all
thing.
it is. That's all it is.
No. But also, the two of you together, people would go crazy for that.
Sure.
That would be the next thing. Whenever that came out, I would drop whatever I was listening to or watching, and that'd be the next thing.
It would have to be.
Yeah, it would have to
Epic
be.
risk collabo. Well, Champ's a busy guy, so we can hope.
And also, what is he, Latvian? Isn't that right?
Yeah, Lithuanian.
Lithuanian. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so he's Lithuanian. So like, I don't know how well he speaks English, right? He definitely knows English, but I don't know how well he speaks English. So I don't know that he doesn't either. So no one
Yeah.
quote me, and I'm not saying Champion ever speaks bad English. Don't make that guy
Wait,
hate
is
me.
that what you Phil? Did you say Champion ever? Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Phil starting a risk beef.
No.
No.
So okay. I have one of Storm's questions.
Yes.
This one's funny. I'm gonna do the funny one first.
Okay.
Give us a list of your server. Give us your server hotness list.
Server hotness list. Well,
Yeah.
you know, because she's asking that she would get.
You have to
number
put her
one.
on it.
Yeah, no, number
Yeah.
one, please. You can't beat the illustrious Amanda Storm, as far as server hotness goes. Firing bolty hot bolts of lightning all across the Discord server, muting and banning like nobody's business. I don't know. Stove has been very very flirtatious with me, which I have to say, I told him overtly that it would be unrequited, but I do enjoy the banter. It's humorous.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah. There's some cool people around, man. It's nice. It's nice to be welcomed and feel accepted and belonging in a place like this, because I really admire clever people, right? I really admire folks that I can learn something from.
Mm-hmm.
I crave that. So I'm getting a lot out of it.
Good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I don't have any social media, like, at all.
Okay.
But there was something about this that drew me. Not just Risk, but then like getting on the server and playing games with people, talking about the game and everything. That drew me in. So like I'm way more public now than I have ever been, since the online era or whatever.
Why?
Because I don't know.
You don't like it? You don't like putting yourself out there, or what is
I don't
it?
have a problem with that.
If I may ask.
So I see people like staring. A couple of things. One is I see people like staring at their Facebook all the time,
Mm-hmm. It's addictive.
and I don't want that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one would be like, I'm not great at like seeing something that I disagree with and then just holding my tongue. So I feel like I would constantly be debating people.
Well, that's what Facebook weaponizes. That's its whole business model.
Yeah.
Right? That
So I don't-
low-level anger, the indignation, right? Making people just a little pissed off at each other keeps your eyeballs scrolling.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting
I
that
think
you know that about yourself. It's
yeah.
very self-aware.
Okay, so like I was this guy said the world is getting worse at a get together, and it was my first time at like we played Dungeons and Dragons. I never played before, but they invited me to play, and I was new to town and I wanted friends, right? And I did like it.
Cool.
The campaign and game ended, so we don't play that anymore, but I'm still friends with the people. And this guy said the world's getting worse. The
And
world's becoming a worse place.
You couldn't sit on that. You had to get into it.
Yeah, and as someone who read Steven Pinker's book,
Mm-hmm.
and Steven Pinker's book is
The
The Better Angels of Our Nature,
Yes.
and he basically lays out graphs and words, and it just like completely demolishes the idea that the world's getting worse, basically,
Mm-hmm.
or less safe, or people are more violent, or any of these memes. And I mean that in like the Dawkins sense memes that people have. So I had read the book like a year or two before this conversation. But I had also like spent a considerable amount of time thinking about it because I have kids, and it's like, well, would I want to raise them now, or do I want to raise them in the 50s, right? And hands down, I think if you really think about it, like you want to raise them now, like if you really know the facts. So anyways, I couldn't let it go, and we ended up in this debate in this person's living room, or no, their kitchen, while everyone else was in the living room, like having a great time. And I think that I would do the equivalent of that online.
So, a potential solution I have to that I've learned, because I'm a very polarizing thinker, is that when I'm in a, quote, philosophical debate with someone now, I always make it very clear that I'm not selling them on what I believe, because I am still ultimately skeptical about what I believe. And I'm only interested in fine-tuning that belief in community with that person, right? I'm having this conversation for the sake of my own thinking, not to sell you on my bullshit. So when you make it overtly clear to the person you're talking to that you are not having a, quote, argument with them, but rather you are presenting an argument in good faith, you find their attitude shift, because they no longer feel attacked. It feels more like you are mutually collaborating intellectually, right? The two of you are working on solving a problem together. Right? And then just to finish that thought is you instead of using declarative statements, you ask more questions, right? You frame everything as a question. Well, what if that is true, then what do you think about this? Sort of, and you use the Socratic method to follow them down maybe the path that you're trying to lead them down, but in a much more subtle, less overt way.
Yeah. I did end up pinning.
Approach?
I do. Yeah, in this particular debate, I pinned him because I got him to like define a specific area, and then he went to like something that he defined as a credible source to then look at it, and then it was the counter to what he believed was true.
You pinned him. You use a wrestling metaphor.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, metaphors are great.
Someone told me like it's funny that you use a sports metaphor when you're like speaking to a bunch of like risk nerds. And I was like, I'm sorry, but like that's I grew up so much like playing competitive sports that it's like it's like my analogy machine, where like you have something that it's like my framework for like seeing how to succeed or seeing how to like form ideas, etc. So I will probably continue to do that, whether on purpose or not.
Why not, man?
Ooh, toggled.
Uh-oh. It's just had enough of me down there. I guess I lose my southern position. Okay. Fun. Don't yaha-ha me, you fucks. God damn it, toggled. Fuck.
Oh, let me ask you about your game strategy.
Sure.
You have mentioned stovetop is what's coming to my mind, that you have like a bully mentality or bully strategy in the game, and I think you would agree that like your play style and my play style are like
quite different,
near opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Can you describe your bully play style, the motivation behind it, etc.?
Sure. So we touched on that when you were talking about metagaming, right? Mm-hmm. I would rather be feared. So it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that this just occurred. So I get removed from my southern position. Toggled spends his match to do it. Why? I can't really tell you. Maybe it was fear. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was just like, well, I can't have Pete next to me. I'm too afraid. So sometimes it does come to bite you in the ass. But and I don't necessarily want my opponents to be hyper aware of my presence, because it is Prague and I'm trying to ambush Predator. But it has everything to do with the reality that I'm expecting to play a series of games with these people, and reputation matters. And if I am known for responding in a way that might disincentivize people from doing stupid shit to me, then those are just fights I don't have to fight twice.
Yeah. Does it work?
I don't know.
I haven't tried it.
Do I win? Do I win my share of games? Right? I think I do. We all do, though. It is what it is. Also, the winning is fun. Like the fun is winning. So it's not just about the outcome for me. I mean, yes, maybe in a tournament setting, if I'm competing, if I'm playing a ranked game, Like anytime I'm playing a video, I'm shooting a video where I'm playing ranked. Really the outcome is winning first, fun second, but or maybe better put, the fun is nested inside the winning. But in these types of games, like what we're playing right now, the fun is certainly not nested inside the winning, because these fields are the Discord fields are much more average. You're playing usually all grandmasters or close to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing guys who know what they're doing, and it's much more about the silly. Rarely somebody goes for a risky kill and makes it. It's really impressive, or fails and it's really funny, and that's where the fun is.
Yeah, that is true.
Different place.
I like to be. You are like the lion roaring, and I like to be like the venomous snake in the grass waiting to bite your ankle and give that lethal dose and then hide in the grass again.
I am a Leo, Phil.
I'm a Leo too.
It's coming up. Oh, has it been your birthday?
No, August 12th. July 26th.
I am July 20th. Good memory. Wow.
Yeah.
Coming up in just over a week. I'm excited. Yeah. I never used to be excited for my birthday because it meant I was getting older, but I started aging in reverse, and now I don't feel so bad.
You started aging in reverse.
Well, giving a shit will do that to you.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see which question I want to ask. We talked about that one. Okay, you have a VC tourney idea.
Oh, yes. Let's get into that.
I love this idea. And I think yes, in Prague, it would be good too, but I think it would be great if they have like a fixed VC tourney.
It would be great in fixed.
It'd probably be great either way.
Yeah.
Why don't you just describe your idea for everyone, and then we can talk about it.
So, the current issues with tournament collaboration rules go that there is no manipulation of outcome, there's no discussion of outcome, because any one person asking another person before or during a tournament game to take this action and I'll take that action is currently defined as collusion and is illegal. So my suggestion is basically we return to the context of a bunch of people sitting at a board game, and they're going to use their skills at verbal manipulation to their benefit, and everyone is on the same page, and this is right. Everyone is in this VC, everyone is enabled to talk to each other, and the expectation is, yes, people can lie, people will do this, people will do this or that, right? And when you have everyone bought in on that, what you have is a much closer approximation of the roots of this game. And I'm a purist at heart a little bit. I still, came to this space. I never played 1v1s before. I was playing a bunch of multiplayer progressive because that's what I like and that's what I come from. And now I've obviously branched out a lot, but I think to be able to, and maybe, not maybe, full disclosure, this is another skill set that I have. So I will admit I'm probably going to do quite well if that is an option. If there is an all VC tournament, I could probably use my language skills for strategic benefit. So part of it is self-serving, as is everything I do, but that's the idea basically.
It's cool. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Would you compete?
If the games are short enough.
Right. No cabs.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem, is like people say there's multiple hour games.
And I'm taking it from you that you're not like inherently against caps. It's just a scheduling conflict. Right?
Yeah,
you just don't have free time because your kids are young.
Absolutely, and I won't for a considerable amount of time. So I don't foresee like 5 years from now being able to play in it either, because like I'm so involved in their lives and they're going to be in activities and etc.
And you have your priorities straight.
Yeah.
Okay. All good. I hear you. Now, what would I do here, though? I think I do that. I don't want to be in 3 positions, Phil. That toggle got me.
Oh, Olympic gets to survive.
Ugh.
Yeah, who else can I kill? No one.
Well, that's the thing about this Atlantis modes with blizzards. It makes getting your kills real tough.
And this stupid... He's going for pink.
I think he's got him too.
Yeah, I like playing because that's what I do with my friends is we sit around and I try to convince people to do things.
And how
And
much
so
of
that
the
I can
fun is
survive.
there, right?
It's so much
A
fun. And then we
lot.
argue with each other and we get mad at each other. And then we're cool. And then the next game starts and it's different.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So I am used to that already. Yeah. So I would like that.
One of the major concerns that was brought up to me was how do you properly moderate it? Right? You would need someone in that VC listening the whole time with moderation privileges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the problem. And it's a sad truth of the internet, right? You just he said, GG, I just had to fuck over Pete before losing. And then he dabbed on me. Oh my god. So funny. I love all these guys.
Yeah. It's funny when people do stuff like that. Okay. Oh, I was really interested when you were talking with Buck about like arguing in public. And you had an epiphany that like
Yes.
wasn't an epiphany to me, but then like your conversation was really interesting. That people just want to complain.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then Buck, I think it was him, brought up a really good point that was it's not about convincing that person. When you're in a public atmosphere like that, it's about convincing all the people that are like listening and
Silent
viewing,
and on the
right?
fence. Yeah.
Yes. Can I kill anybody? I can't kill you because I can't get to your 8 and 1.
Good.
My turn got skipped.
No.
I'm literally framing the screen with my hands. I didn't accidentally touch it or anything. I'm gonna make a mad face. Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
do you think it's worth it to argue in a public forum if you do not think that you'll ever convince that person? Like that was Buck's point, and like I get where he's coming from.
So, the way I answer this question is I'm less charitable than Buck. I value my time more, and I'm less optimistic about the utility of shouting into the void, which is kind of ironic considering I've built now a megaphone to shout into the void. So my answer is I'm a soft sell. Buck's a bit of a harder sell than me. I care about what I care about, and ultimately I do think I am right, but I'm still interested in figuring out the ways in which I'm not. But I have very little patience for the type of sniveling, weak person who would go into a public space ostensibly looking for help, but actually only wanting attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I answer that question.
Interesting answer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No patience for those people. They don't register to me as worth my effort. I would much rather spend my effort on those who are interested in improving, because I see those folks as having hope. right? Until you can get yourself free of the shackles of I am so weak and shitty, I need attention to validate myself. My help is mostly useless. And once you can free yourself from that, then we can talk. That's where I come in, right? With strategy. I'm not much of a comfort. There's comfort and then there's strategy, right? If someone comes to you with a problem, you're a loved one or a friend, right? They either want one or the other, or maybe some of both, and it's sometimes helpful to ask them what they're coming to you for.
I should do that more.
Right.
Because I try to solve their problems and they don't always want that.
They don't always want that. That is like a very quintessentially masculine thing, right? It's like your wife or your girlfriend will come to you and she'll be like, oh, I'm really upset about X, and your response is, well, here's how we fix X, and she's like, I actually didn't want you to fix X, I just wanted you to hug me and tell me everything was going to be okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's in a million different sitcoms, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I had a follow-up. I also think that like people never change their mind right away. I see like people in these situations as being like seeds, basically, that you're just like you're planting seeds and someone else is watering this, like so no one ever like it, not never, but in the moment people rarely are like, you're right, but months or years later people do change their minds over time. So does that change how you look at it, or do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I would take it even further. I would say there have been times in my experience where people have changed their mind instantaneously, or even I have changed my mind instantaneously. So
Is it rare?
Depends on how convincing your argument is. If you show a person a thing that they've truly never considered, and you don't frame it as an attack, right? You're not like, you're wrong and here's why. It's rather like, hey, I used to think the way you think, but then I had this thought, or I was exposed to this data point, and it made me question that. Does it make you question that? Right? So the approach matters as far as changing people's minds, if you're interested in changing people's minds. I love how that segues from a question about manipulating folks in the game of Risk, right? If you're interested in changing people's minds, hey, you know what? You could attack Pete, but also, fuck Phil, right? You know? He would have done it to you. That's always my favorite. You know, when you're playing with your buddies, they know exactly what to say.
Yeah, they talk about how like so okay, we've recorded it, my friend recorded it. My friend works in like movies and shows and stuff. I'm dead.
Nice.
I don't know why I was attacking so much. Someone's gonna kill me before I trade in. But my friend works in like movies and TV and stuff, in multiple different roles, and we've recorded these games that we play from his point of view. And if I can ever get him to actually finish editing it, because he's been really nitpicky about it, then we're gonna have this show called a highly edited version of like 6 dudes playing and trying to manipulate each other, shooting this shit at the same time, right? But on there, like one of the first things that you would probably hear is my friend Tom saying, basically like tearing me a new one for 10 minutes because this persona that I have on, not who I really am as a Risk player.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny. Because like people don't always see that I want to like destroy them. You know what I mean? Like that's my mindset when I'm coming into the game, I think.
Why not? They should know that by now.
I don't know.
What, are they new? Oh, he has a match. Okay.
I had a match on 3,
Did
so if I didn't get my card skipped, I might have. I don't know. It would have been a different card probably. But I had a wild card in my hand.
Yeah, I hate that glitch, man.
It happens. Last time we played, I had a glitch. I had my disappearing troops glitch.
Well, I haven't seen that one recently.
No, I think it's gone.
Good.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to ask you about Jeopardy.
Sure.
I'm really excited for you, and I hope that you get on the show.
I know. I hope so too, man.
Yeah. Well, one, are you going to be nervous when you go on Jeopardy?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I use my nerves.
Hmm.
Usually. I feel them, but I don't tend to just get overwhelmed by them. I try to like harness that nervous energy and use the excitement to, pay it off in the moment. Channel it, maybe.
Good. Hmm.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, are you going to mention that you're a mega risk player with a YouTube channel when you
Yeah,
go on?
I mean, it would be a squandered opportunity if I didn't, right? Like, so I've thought about this, and here's a great story. So, when people ask me what I do, or let's say I would go to a party, and I would be introduced to someone, and they would be like, hey, what do you do? I would historically always say I cut grass. And the reason I would say I cut grass is that the reaction of the person to that sentence tells me almost everything I need to know about them.
Oh,
Right? I'm not trying to build myself up with my self-description. I'm interested to see how the other person would respond to the humble sort of this is what I do, and it is literally the truth as well. But then inevitably what happens is someone who knows it will be like, well, no, Pete, you run a business, blah, blah, blah. And like that is also true. But the way I lead is I'm far more interested to understand who I am talking to when I meet someone for the first time. So the way that applies to this is I was saying, like, people ask me, hey, what would you say is your profession? I'd be like, well, do I want to say I'm a gardener? Do I want to say I'm this? Do I want to say I'm that? I've concluded that if I get on the show, I would just be like, I would say YouTuber or professional gamer, which I guess is now technically true as well, right?
yeah, you are.
Yeah, so very minor. But no, but the whole point being so that it would be stupid to squander the opportunity to draw a national audience to this channel and to this game. So I would figure any of the interview questions, I would just have them funneled. No matter what they ask me, I would just be able to funnel the answer to Risk and say, yeah, this is what I do. Come check it out. It's really fun. And I would love to see you and play with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
I was hoping you'd give that answer, but didn't want to put pressure on you because like being on Jeopardy is a big opportunity, and like you just have your moment, whatever it is. I didn't want to be someone who's like making you do that.
No, I had that thought as well. It seems dumb to put all of this effort into making a video project to not promote it if you had access to that kind of microphone. So
yeah. Well, I hope they choose you, because that's basically what happens now. Is you've passed the test. They're gonna choose people.
I hope I pass the test, man. Oh my God, I've been working on this for 9 years. Awesome. I watch Jeopardy just about every single day for 9 years.
Nice.
since I got the PVR with my TV when I moved into this house. So that's how long it took me to get good enough. Well, maybe 1 or 2 years I've been good enough. But I'm also kind of now aging out of my popular culture knowledge because I pretty much stopped watching TV. So there is a sweet spot. Yeah, for sure. I'll study. If I get on, I'll have to maybe not play so much Risk and do a little bit more reading Wikipedia. Did we get to? Was there anything else that you really wanted to get to?
I tried to pick out the things I wanted to talk to you about the most.
Good.
But we could talk for hours.
I know we can, and we will, because there's no reason to not do this again. I have such a blast playing with you and talking to you, dude. I really appreciate it.
I would love to do this again. I think that there's I would do it again like next week with you, but I think that there's a benefit for having a lot of different people on. I personally benefit from it because I listen to them and hear their different philosophies and styles and stories. So, but yeah, in the future we can do this again after you've had some more interesting people on.
Yes, and suggest them. Help me pick some interesting guests that you want to talk to and know about, right?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even think about suggesting it for you. I'll keep my mind open and try to come up with some interesting guests for you.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, Pete?
Just to signal boost the finals to the 1v1 tournament. I'm channeling my inner sports announcer on Saturday. Parlox versus Tank. They've both worked so hard to get to the finals. And if you want to watch them live, I will be streaming it to my Twitch. I think it's 1600 UTC Saturday. And that's it. If you are interested in getting better at the game of Risk, I have a daily release schedule on YouTube. I invite you to subscribe to my channel and come along this journey with me. We do a fixed game on Fridays. We do this show, the Waiting on Your Best Behavior podcast, on Wednesdays, and every other day is whatever I feel like. Thank you very much, Risky Phil, for interviewing.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you for the opportunity. It was awesome.
Yeah, as always, man. What a great time. All right, guys. For all of you on the path to world domination, good games and good luck.